All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
we can.
thanks, Krista. Morning, everybody. We are heading into our last 4 hours of deliberation for the Commercial Energy Code tag this morning. Thank you to all of you for a lot of work and being part of the process. Engaged citizens in shaping policy. It's so important. This is the 14th meeting by my count, stretching back to our first meeting in the winter on February 7th, plus the integrated draft work we did in October. We spent around 85 hours together, so appreciate all the dedication of everybody on this calls. And we learned how to work together really quickly. Most of the proposals were eventually voted through on a voice vote, either almost all in favor or almost all against, with a few that were a bit more contentious. I'd suggest we have a round of applause for everybody, but that's really awkward over Zoom, so we're not going to do that. I miss meeting in person. I would have loved to meet each one of you in person and had time to chat on the side of the meetings, but that's just not the way we're doing it this year. And Zoom, I guess, allows more participants from all over the state without having a lot of drive time or flying time. So I guess that's good. We've worked through 152 proposals so far. We have 14 on the docket for today. I plan on running a tight ship, so with no further ado, let's get going. That's my welcome. Let's see who's in the room today.
Joe Anderson.
I'm still here.
Margaret Montgomery.
Margaret's out today. I'll be filling in. This is Marty Brennan.
Okay. So Marty, you're here. If I can get my cursor to work. Kim Barker. I don't think she was available. Todd Blevins. Dwayne Johnlin.
I'm here.
Ray Alshouse.
Here.
Eric Bedell.
Here.
Nick Massey.
I see him online. Just FYI.
Yeah, I see his name there. Sean Vig. Kevin Roberts. Greg Johnson.
Present.
Nathan Miller.
Here.
Prem Kumar Siddharth. Irina Rasputnis. Kevin Duell. Kevin, are you there? He's on my list, but not popping up. Or Ian Casey. Ian, are you there?
Yeah, I just logged on.
Poppy Storm. Poppy.
Present.
Shailesh Desai.
Present.
Larry Andrews.
Present.
Eric Olnon.
Present.
Lisa Rosenau.
Present.
Rick Blumenthal.
Good morning.
Irina Sesarova.
Present.
Andy Burnham,
Here.
Sloan Ritchie,
Here.
Brett Conway,
Here.
Luke Howard,
Luke is out this week, but I will be filling in. This is Nick Manning as his new alternative.
Marcus Berta, Kevin Sharp,
Here.
Alessandra De La Torre,
Here, I'll have to step out from 11 to 12 and 1 to 2. And Deepa, my alternate, should be able to cover some of those times.
okay. Deepa Savarajan, okay, we do have a quorum.
Krista, this is Kim Barker. I must have missed my name, but I am here.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
I'm also here, but Eric Bedell is the primary, so I'm just the alternate.
Thanks. Thank you, everybody, for showing up on a strange day on a Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. I think we can finish this all in 4 hours, probably less. So thank you all. We have a quorum. We're here. The agenda, you see it in front of you. It's 14 plus an optional 15th proposal. Anybody want to make a motion to approve or do something else?
No, we did get a request from P&L to, they wanted to discuss credits in those two windows. Was it 10 through 11 and 12 to 1?
Was
You know
that
what
279?
I think so. I think that's what was referring to.
Yeah, hi, this is Kevin Madison. Mike Rosenberg and Doug Maddox, neither of them could make it today. And I have a limited availability now for about the next 45 minutes and then from 12 to 1. So if there's any discussion planned for the 279.
We could move 279 up to the front of the agenda if we want.
That'd be fabulous, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to move 279 to the front and then accept the agenda.
I'll second it.
Thanks. We have a motion and a second. So as you all know, 279 was, we had a work group. We've approved it 2 or 3 times. And there are, I think, minor updates today based on a call with P&L about their modeling yesterday. So Greg worked furiously to provide some information today that we can look at. Okay, so we're going to vote on this agenda shortly, but Lisa, go ahead.
Yeah, quick question about proposal 177. I see it's already on the agenda, so we don't have to do a motion to reconsider on that one?
I put it on the agenda. I think if we want to update it, we can just look at it, and if someone makes a motion to reapprove it, that would be the same thing as a motion to reconsider. I think it was already approved.
Yes.
Is my recollection. So if it's already approved, then I think we don't need a motion to reconsider. If it was disapproved, I think we might.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the motion is to move 279 to the front and approve the agenda. All in favor, say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. Okay, we have an agenda. Let's look at 279 and who wants to introduce the updates, and then I guess just for clarity, what are the specific updates for today?
Yeah, I'll scroll through since there's the bulk of the updates or the main focus was one was for the thermal energy network. That was the thing that prompted that we met with on how to deal with that, and then there's a couple minor things that picked up, but I'll scroll by page. Well, I'll tell Krista what pages to scroll to, so you guys can see every single update. The intent wasn't really to change anything aside from what was noted. So page 5 would be the first page to go to. And this isn't really like a change. I mean, you'll just see that TSPR is not struck out. That was a decision that was already made And so last time, and so that was just picked up. If you go to that was page I think I had noted page 5. Was that ups? Yeah, right there. Okay, perfect. Page 8, and stop me and interrupt me if there's a you know what I mean, something you see until we get to the I was gonna.
Greg, rather than page numbers, could you give us section numbers? Because I think some of us are looking at different editions of this.
So one thing to note is the edition that's on the agenda, don't look at that. That is way out of date. Look at the one that's on the SBCC website.
Yeah, it was just posted this morning, so it is very late breaking.
So then on page I think I had noticed page 8 was if you scroll down a little bit farther, possibly it's page 9, right at the end. So we had Gary had a proposal for gas operated heat pumps that we voted on. We didn't have the language for what the standards and the reference were. So that's what that is just adding the reference value for a gas heat pump for in the table in C403. And so there's a whole series of tables and just a new table at the end that specifies that.
Is this based on a proposal that we approved at the last meeting?
It is. So we approved Gary, do you know what proposal number is that if he's online?
I can look it up. I was just looking at the 1.0 COP and wondering if that was part of the proposal we approved.
It was in his proposal and we extracted out. Yeah, it was 1.0 COP at 17 degrees Fahrenheit was the values in his written proposal. I could pull it up. But it's just merely taking that stuff extracted out because we didn't have it actually. He wrote his proposal for the old fossil fuel pathway thing, and so it didn't align. So it's just inserting his language right here. I have too many screens open, so but if you need to, we can go look up the proposal number.
I'm looking it up right now. I see Lisa's
182, right?
Was it 182?
Yeah, because mine was 180. I'm sorry, mine was 294 that I withdrew, and Gary's I think 182 was approved. I think.
Yes, approved is modified.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I recall, we split it into 3. Well, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I can look up my notes. Anyway, I guess we'll trust it that this reflects what was approved in a different proposal. So we'll just trust that.
And you guys can watch the tape. And so that's what that was, is just adding that reference point in there. Then if you scroll down to page 10, so I deleted, we'd already selected Lisa Ronell's option 3 for here. So I deleted out the other 2 options and went with the one we already did. In yellow highlighting with some changes I made. When I went through to rectify it, I saw a couple things that needed slight change on that last sentence. I talked to Lisa this morning and she was suggesting just to eliminate the last 3 words I changed, unless exempted below, just delete that and end it there. But and if I'm not correct, Lisa, you're okay with these yellow highlights sans the unless exempted below words?
Yeah, that was the only suggestion that I had. The rest are fine.
And if you want to know the reason why for that, this equations in C406 refer to the credits obtained, not the credits required, because of the credit measures. And so it's removing the word required just to reflect that change in language. And then the word capacity, we already have it defined capacity in the other section we reference. And so it's redundant. And also, as we'll get to on thermal energy networks, there's a reason why we need to modify that capacity word for thermal energy networks to make those work, but I'll cover that piece. But so that's those minor just word change to address that.
Right, quick question. Were you going to remove those same 3 words from the C403?
Oh, yeah, we can do that too. So we had the same 3 words. I mean, the 3 words, as Lisa points out, are just redundant. You don't really need it. That's kind of inherent to the word. In
Exception.
Yeah, C403, we have the same 3 words unless exempted below. You can delete those 3 words.
All right.
So then on page 12, so similar to the gas water heat pumps for space heating, we have gas water heat pumps for surface water heating. And so we had to provide the definition of those. That's a different standard, different metric. And so that is listed right there. And I just appended the table with this last red line for the definition that was pulled out of Gary's proposal. And then, yeah.
Where does the 50-degree outdoor temperature come from?
That was what Gary had listed at, and that's how they measured it in the standard.
Okay, right. Never mind.
So, I mean, because COP varies by temperature, and so when you define a COP standard, you have to tell what the reference temperature outdoor ambient is where that COP applies. So it doesn't, I mean, we could define it at any temperature you wanted, like 17 degrees, and then you'd have a different COP. And it wouldn't change your metrics. It's just making sure we're referring to the same terminology for the same benchmark for everything. And that's if you scroll up on the table, you'll see the same thing for I think this is done the same. There's a COP right there for a heat pump, and they do the same thing right above it. The 4 point for the heat pump pool heaters.
Yeah.
And if you were to dig, so you'll see the same reference convention.
So
there.
earlier in the document, it said 17 degrees.
That was for the space heating. The surface water heating is differently.
Okay, cool.
And I just took the numbers that Gary provided from his reference. I didn't read any of the standards.
And we approved the proposal, so.
We did, yeah.
You are just editorially updating your proposal, which is, I think Krista would have done it anyway. But it's good to have it all in one place.
Do we need to specify dry bulb or wet bulb on that?
I defer to Gary or Kevin or someone else to.
Is it defined in ANSI ASHRAE 118.1?
Yeah, that's where it's from, so I can look that up while we're talking here. But I just keep.
Okay. Yep, let's keep going.
Thanks.
So then on page 13, what was already approved editorial, if you scroll down slightly more to the table, there was to split out the 2 alteration credits from base heating and surface water heating. So those are 2 lines on the table for that. That was already approved and requested last time. And then on page 19, I've got to get there too on my screen. Page, so
What are we looking for?
So at the very bottom of the table, so it's the table C406.2 number parenthesis 4 right there. Yeah. So this I'll get into a little bit. We've strucken thermal energy networks off the table. Not that we're striking thermal energy networks, but what we decided we would treat thermal energy networks as if it'd be much simpler to just say we treat the thermal energy system as it's part of the site. So one of the big challenges of thermal energy networks is it's not really site energy. And Mike Rosenberg, I won't, but he's kind of highlighted, and so he needed direction on how to model it because it's not site energy, and how do we assign credits for it. And so the easiest way to simplify it is what we do is we just pretend like the thermal energy network is located on the site, and just have them go through the credits like you would if it was site equipment. And so for that reason, we don't need separate lines for thermal energy networks. We're just using the same system types that we previously had. So on that page, there's also the table next below it. We do the same thing. We striked out the thermal energy network, and then we struck out on page 25. So that would be the service water heating table. We struck out the thermal energy networks there. Also, you'll see right above that is another side thing was the gas heat pump. I had missed putting gas heat pump on surface water heating, but that's part of Gary's proposal that we accepted with the benchmarks. So I add those lines in for that system type. And then if you want further on the server, then now it's good to go to page 25, which is actually, or excuse me, 29. And 29 is where we actually talk about thermal energy networks, and it shows how the whole thing works.
And Corix was okay with this, right?
Yes, Corix. So yeah, Corix did it, and then what you'll see is the bulk of what it's highlighted in yellow. So that whole section that is done. The top part of that whole section was actually Andy wrote most of that, and then I made a few minor adjustments to it, to the top part, and then added in the equation, and then we kept the bottom part. So essentially, and what we're doing is we're saying the portion of the heating, cooling, and the surface water heating that is provided by thermal energy network would be treated as if the equipment were located on site. One other thing to note is there's a capacity challenge. So everything's based on capacity is how things are defined. You don't want, like if you have a small 5,000 square foot building that's connected to a thermal energy network, but the thermal energy network has a capacity of several million BTUs, you don't want to base it on capacity for that reason. So we had to make an adjustment in there, and that's part of where the capacity, where we say in lieu of equipment capacity, we're treating it as the annual load. So you'll see that little shift there. So that way we don't consider some big giant multi-million BTU connected to a small building. Also, there is a efficiency loss in pumping and distribution loads on a thermal energy network. So we have to derate the, so while you aggregate out and you get a lot of high efficiencies for your equipment, because they're going to have a lot of heat recovery, but you have to derate those credits by that, the losses of the pumping and distribution. And so that's what that equation just shows you, that you're just subtracting out your pumping and distribution losses. But otherwise, it refers you back to the space heating, space cooling, and service water heating credits. And so you just treat it like it's do what you normally would do.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is the right time to ask the question, and Greg, this might be something we have to take offline, but the TSPR measure, it's been put back in along with the other provision. However, in the current code, there's a footnote that says that particular measure can't be combined with either a space heating or space cooling measure, and also the DOAS measure. And I don't see that currently now on how we're handling it. And this might be something we have to take offline, but I was just wondering if you've got it, if there's a plan for that.
We should just take that footnote and move it over in that section. I didn't do any changes to TSPR or anything, like aside from just unstriking it, because that was the decision the tag made. But I didn't even, you'll notice I didn't make even a single change, you know what I mean?
So other proposals that affected TSPR would change that section. This section is unchanged by this proposal. TSPR is unchanged by this proposal. And I think, so, yeah.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that, as it currently stands, someone could claim the TSPR credit and they could claim an efficiency credit. But that was not the intent. And so, and the footnotes there is fine. It's just, it's not correlated with all the other changes. So that's just another detail to pick up. And I apologize for not bringing that up earlier.
Well, that's great. I think that's a great one to bring up at the MVP committee when this is forwarded to them.
Okay, will do.
Okay, Greg, is that the bulk of the changes or is that all of them?
That was all of them. So that was all the changes in there. I mean, really the bulk was adding in Gary's, Gary's thing and the thermal energy network. That was really, and then you saw a few editorials, and I won't claim that I picked up all the editorial changes that happened. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no,
because,
you're not expected to pick up all the changes from all the other proposals. We've passed or denied 152, and there would be, you've done an amazing job of picking up a lot of them, but really it's not your job, so it will get done.
Yeah, and I will review once Krista, and I know you, sorry, Krista, there's a ton of work this tag has put on you, and thank you for all your great work and detailed work, Krista. But after you get your draft done, I'll review it or so and provide comments and, you know, I mean, for the MVP committee for anything that I see that, and I'm sure that others will do the same, and so we can work together.
Thank you, Greg. Any comments, questions?
Just on that 50-degree temperature, I can't find a reference for a dry bulb or wet bulb. I don't have that standard. I reached out to Gary. There's a related standard 118.2, and they do not specify dry bulb or wet bulb. It's just ambient temperature.
I don't think it matters at a temperature that cool.
Yeah.
That's a big deal if it's 90 degrees out, but
yeah, good point.
Humid, but 50 degrees is going to be pretty much the same both ways.
Good point, Dwayne.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Anybody want to make a motion on this thing?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to accept in a second. Larry, do you have a comment?
No, it was my second.
Okay, great. All right, further discussion. Okay, all in favor say yes.
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 Yep.
Yes.
Any opposed say no. Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Greg and Andy and everybody else for contributing to this one. 279 has passed. We are on to 177. Brett, are you here? Still here?
Yes, I am here. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to? So this is a proposal that we had previously approved, and it's coming back for some potential changes. So do you want to introduce any changes?
Sure. So the first time this came about and was approved, essentially the last section, 4.4 was approved. The sections above it in the original text were not approved. So this comes back as a proposal revision to add some more meat around the bone for the shell and core permitting strategy and the initial permitting approach. So in this, the definition of shell and core construction is defined, the initial tenant improvement is defined, and then the subsequent tenant improvement is defined. And I received some recommendations from two parties since then. So maybe I'll jump into those pieces here. But
please.
So in the first sentence, the building can, a building may. So can change to may. We can, if we can make that change, I think that's a good one. And then if we can go to initial tenant improvement 4.2, and in the last sentence, change the to and in the beginning of and instead of the word permit, change the word to project. And this one's a little bit more of an edit, and I think it's a good one. It's the sentence above that one, Krista, and it is mostly a rewrite of the whole sentence. The project shall comply with the tenant space requirements in section C 406.1.1. Okay, thank you. And then there's just one last edit, and it's in the first sentence of 4.3. So is it says tenant improvement permit applications. Change that to alterations to the permit space. A little bit lower, sorry. Tenant improvement permit applications.
4.3.4.3.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Alterations to a tenant space. And then you can strike out permit applications. Yeah. Thank you. Those were the edits from a couple parties, Lisa and Greg, as well as Shell.
Yeah, and I had asked one question, which I wasn't sure of the answer, which is if the shell and core under the first subsection says it's going to be a B occupancy tenant, and then the initial tenant improvement turns out to be a vastly different one, you know, what, I guess, is that covered? I guess that probably is fine because it, I don't know. It was a question I had.
And that's not an unreal condition. That could really happen, where the first one could be very different. So.
I'll jump in here quick because I, thought about the same thing, Shell. And I think the way this is written now, it indicates that the shell and core permit, they have to pick an occupancy classification in a space conditioning category because, the credits apply to this and efficiency credits apply to this and all that. So it's covered there. But then under section C 104.3.4.2, it states there that it has to indicate the occupancy classification space condition category. So that way it could change. It's okay if it changes. Yep. And it's just stating that you have to indicate that change under that permit.
Yep. Okay, thanks. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember our discussion from long ago, but I'm still uncomfortable with the idea that this is going into the energy code, which does not get its own permit, right? The energy code is referenced in the other ones that where permits are issued, and this all should be going into a building code amendment rather than energy code. That's my big reservation about this. My small quibble is that I think there are two places in this now that use the word may, and we don't use that because it's not clear. And so it would be is permitted to. And I realize that in the first sentence will say is permitted to be permitted, but that's the more clear language that we universally use instead of the word may. And there's, I think, 2 instances of the word may in here. The second one is the middle sentence in 3.4.2.
Okay, that I guess seems reasonable if we're using the word permitted is permitted to be used twice. A building is permitted to be permitted in a 2-step process.
Maybe the second permitted configured.
I think let's wordsmith later.
Okay, very good.
And then the second one,
Where it says it may comply with C406 in the middle of 3.4.2.
Yeah, that sentence is gone now, though.
Yeah.
It's gone. Okay, good. Never mind
okay.
then.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you. I do agree with Dwayne on this one, and I think other TAG members expressed the same concern that this language isn't really directly applicable. I mean, it is applicable to, obviously, we need to take this into consideration under the energy code. However, a building code type change. And so is this something that the MVPE committee could perhaps consider as, okay, the tag approved, the energy code tag approved this language. Now let's determine the most appropriate code to put it under.
The MVPE can reconsider and reconsider anything that the tag considers. If we vote this down, if we voted this language down today, the MVPE could not consider it because that's the law, as I understand it.
So it'd be my preference to have this be a note in, if we're approving this, that we'd like SBCC to coordinate this with the parallel sections in or requirements else in the other codes, so that we don't have this essentially builds in a conflict because it's got a bunch of requirements that the other applicable construction codes do not have.
Yeah. Okay. That note could be put in a motion to approve.
That sounded like a motion.
Okay, somebody give it a second, and it's a motion.
Was that a motion, Dwayne?
Yep.
Okay, so there's a motion
second.
to approve this with a note that VPE needs to coordinate with other branches of the code. And we have a second as well. Further discussion?
Just a point of information, and whether it's useful or not. This is really trying to give it just instructions about how to adjust, frame the energy code as it looks towards these types of projects. It's not talking about exiting and all the other things that the building code talks about. So just go with your guidance as the tag on where this properly lives.
Thanks, Brett. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, and just one other comment. I will say that we do get questions about this on, what is a tenant improvement? That term is used interchangeably in the industry to describe both the initial tenant improvement after a shell and core, and then an update to an existing building. And we do get questions about it. So I think there's value in clarifying it. It's just, determining where the best place for the language to live.
Thanks, Lisa.
And I didn't get the second. Who was the second on this one?
Greg?
I was.
All right. All in favor of approving as modified with a note on it, say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Brett, and everyone who worked on this. We are on to the next one, which is Sutton, we have 24 and 25, which are both similar. Are you available?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
All right, you have
Yeah.
the floor.
Great. So this proposal I brought forward, I think it was back in April, and the TAG members, I think, reached out and asked for more information. I provided copies of the standard as well as an overview summary presentation that one of the committee members gave recently. And so providing that information, I hope everybody was able to take a look. It provides the overview of what is included in the standard that we're looking to have referenced here. And so hopefully, if there's any questions on that, I'd be happy to answer if I could. There was also some discussion with the TAG members when I was presenting this originally as to the location of where the standard is being referenced. So I did forward to staff a change or a suggestion after further discussion with some of my committee members within ACI and TMS where it might fit in better. So I don't know if hopefully we'll have time, maybe we can look at that.
Thanks, Gary.
You're welcome.
And I received the standard from you. Thank you. I was able to review that.
You're welcome.
I guess my general opinion on it was that the thermal bridges for concrete that would be allowed under this are quite large. And I think some of the steps taken in the IECC with psi and chi factors and other things to eliminate thermal bridging, this would allow somewhat of a loophole in that, at least as far as I could determine from the standard and the code language. That's my review of the standard and code language. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, I had a few comments. So I'll start with a wording recommendation. If the language is proposals approved, it doesn't specifically state what assembly type it applies to. And so my recommendation would be to rephrase it so it says something along the lines of that the standard ACI TMS 122.1 is permitted as a compliance alternative for mass wall assemblies. So it's very clear that's what it applies to. I can send that to you if you like, Krista.
For mass walls or mass?
Well, this is for the above grade wall sections, mass wall assemblies. And then I guess he would, I'm assuming is this a standard?
Yes.
That word? Okay, so it could say, standard ACI is permitted as a compliance alternative for mass wall assemblies. Which is really clear, the scope. So that would be my recommendation if that is friendly.
To be more clear, it would be code. But it is a standard.
Yeah, standard isn't usually used.
Yeah, code. It is ACI TMS code, so the language is all code based.
I think people would just go to the references section of the code and figure out that ACI TMS 122.1 is the reference standard.
Got it. Okay, so then you can just leave it as just ACI TMS is permitted as a compliance alternative for mass wall assemblies. And so I guess my question is, so it wouldn't have to say compliance with. And that's my recommendation if it's friendly.
And it doesn't need to be friendly. We're gonna spend a few. We like to be friendly, but
so there's that. And then just a couple other thoughts on this one. Because this is a document that folks are going to have to go find, and I'm thinking about jurisdictions, just as a recommendation to support the industry. Would the Concrete Masonry Association be willing and able to provide some type of summary document of some sort that explains the standard, explains what it does, just something, it's brief, that could be posted as a resource? I think that would be really helpful.
Yes, so we do have, I mean, there is some guidance information within the standard itself, but ACI does provide, in the last couple of years, we were able to do this for jurisdictions and building officials using especially our newer standards. We do provide complimentary copies, and this is advertised on our code advocacy webpage on our ACI's webpage. So yes, absolutely. If this were adopted, any jurisdiction in the state could go on the website and obtain a complimentary copy of it.
Yeah, I think it would also be valuable to have, as I say, not just the standard itself, but
A
some type of
summary, yeah.
a summary document that, so a design professional doesn't necessarily have to purchase the standard unless it's something that they,
Yes,
I think that would be very helpful.
right. I will make that suggestion to our committee. I think that's a great one.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lisa and Carrie. Dwayne.
Yeah, motion to disapprove.
Okay, we have a motion to disapprove. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Dwayne, do you want to provide any rationale?
Yes, I did read through the standard, and it significantly weakens what we've already got in place, and I couldn't see any particular advantage for even taking on a modified version of it.
Thanks, Dwayne. Go ahead, Greg.
So I was wondering, so we had a whole conversation way early in this process about transfer slabs, which were, I mean, the concrete transfer slabs. And while I don't, that, and then also we had a lot of other exceptions where we'd have like concrete, which related concrete, where we'd have like concrete vaults and things below, or, you know what I mean? And I guess I'm drawing a lot of parallels, and I'm hoping there maybe is a structural engineer on the call who can, because a lot of this gets into structural stuff on what's possible and not, and hoping a structural engineer could maybe speak to where we already have exceptions and, you know what I mean, along that lines.
Well, I don't know if we have a structural here, but we did make an exception for transfer slabs because there was kind of this physical impossibility of sticking some fuzzy stuff in the middle there, and we made the exception for the lid on a vault with good reasoning there, but that's not specifically a structural thing. So there are a couple of very specific items where we were recognized a need for an exception, but this ACI thing basically covers everything and makes our code weaker.
Thanks, Dwayne and Greg.
Is there a structural engineer on or anyone who can speak to, you know, I mean, their analysis? It'd be nice to hear from someone who, yeah, because this is really thermal bridging related structural of concrete, which.
Yep. Go ahead, Larry.
I don't think we should disapprove this at all. I mean, we need strength to keep the building afloat and keep it upright. And at times you're not going to be able to get that insulation where you need it. But yet you still need the strength. And this kind of gives them a way to get some of that through there. And I really think we need to pass this along, and I wish we had another meeting so we could talk it over and see some examples here of how we would do this instead of shutting it down, because you're putting a whole way. I mean, concrete and reinforcement is used to keep these buildings upright. And there are times where you just can't get that insulation where you need it. So what you would do is you would make it up someplace else. And, but you got to have the strength. You don't want the buildings coming down. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Go ahead, Eric.
With earthquakes and everything, you know.
Yeah, we have pretty strong earthquakes codes already, I think. And they require a good deal of structure. Right now, exception 3 that exists with or without this proposal is for thermal bridges accounted for and elsewhere in the energy code. So you could put insulation elsewhere to make up for the thermal bridges. Go ahead, Eric.
So as the general contractor representative, I just want to preface that I'm not a structural engineer, but I do have a question to the proponent and author of this. Is the reason why you're doing this, is it for structural reason of getting or changing the language for thermal bridges? Is it that the industry is having difficulty meeting any requirements from a structural point of view?
No, not on the structure. It's the intent of the committee, the ACI and the Masonry Society, was to put together a standard that went beyond what was out there existing to help address thermal bridges. So I don't really believe the intent was to address a structural issue. It's more to help the industry who knows more about the product and you know what the situation is, to allow for states to address these thermal bridging mitigation to help with energy compliance. That's truly the reason.
Okay, so Dwayne, what issue do you have with that? These are experts in their field who want to assist in this.
Yeah, my observation looking at this is that they have a proposal here that weakens the protections we have against thermal bridging. And note that we've had those protections in place for many code cycles, and people have learned to work around them. So I can see that there would be that the industry there is looking for to get some kind of competitive advantage back, to make it by compromising the insulation to make some of their assemblies easier to do. And that's going the wrong direction. We're supposed to be making our buildings significantly, progressively more and more efficient as we go forward, not less.
So the only thing I have is, yes, that is a true statement, but if it changes how you're going to build a building structurally, and that's where I'm going with this as the general contractor, there's a balance between structural stability and engineering, and then also efficiency and thermal efficiency in buildings. And there should be the experts who are discussing this. I don't think there's, as someone said, there's no structural engineer on board here. It feels like maybe this needs to be taken up at a higher level than us, Shell, at this moment in time. I mean, that's just an opinion.
Well, I think right now, I think as Dwayne said, without this proposal, buildings can be built the same way they were built.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair.
year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. With this proposal, additional concrete thermal bridges are allowed, inherently allowed, that don't need to be made up through additional U factors elsewhere on the project. So
got it.
Without this proposal, we don't lose or we gain structural options and thermal bridging options with this proposal. We don't lose anything without it.
Okay, that's great segue. So we're gaining additional solutions by approving this submittal.
Yeah. So for instance, I'm guessing, concrete cantilever balconies are difficult
Very
under
difficult,
the current
extremely
energy
difficult.
code.
Right.
And so there's
Extremely
like
difficult.
there's like a lot of INEs that use like steel and are
That is
supported in that way.
Yes, that is one of the most difficult scenarios that we encounter is a cantilever balcony by far.
Yep.
And putting thermal bridge in, if not the most difficult.
So this allows more options in that direction. But it, to Dwayne's point, it reduces the stringency of the code, certainly.
10-4.
But it provides more structural options. So go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin Rose, Northwest Energy Efficiency Alliance. I was just gonna, quickly further make that point about the difference in stringency, since that's what I think is the sort of topic in the scope before this tag. A very similar proposal was made for the 2027 IECC development process that's named CE30-24. And that a proposal very similar by the American Concrete Institute and others that was disapproved by the envelope subgroup of the IECC and has subsequently been withdrawn. So it hasn't been deemed as appropriate for much of these same reasons that have been discussed about it being a unnecessary reduction in stringency to the energy code. Thanks.
Thanks, Kevin. Go ahead, Larry.
Can we add another sentence down below here that would say that if we allow this bridging to happen, that we have to pick up savings in another part of the building?
Larry, I believe if we didn't have this proposal, exception number 3 does exactly that.
So what are we losing here? We're giving them options. We're giving them options. And yet the little bit of loss that we have here, we're going to make it up in another part of the building. What's wrong with that to give somebody some more options?
Larry, I see as if we didn't approve this proposal, exception 3 does exactly what you are asking for. What this proposal would do is say, you don't need to make up for it if you have big concrete thermal bridges. Other materials you would need to make up for, but for concrete, because of ACI TMS 122.1, you would be automatically exempted from not making up additional energy efficiency in other ways.
So the way it presently is written, we can do this. We just have to make it up someplace else.
Exactly. Okay. That's exception 3, as I understand it, in the current code. Go ahead, Greg.
I see where the challenges are: beams, columns, cantilevers, like people mentioned before, structurally. But what I was wondering is there any analysis that ACI has done to actually model? Because concrete is a lot of thermal mass, and so wondering what any modeling of what the actual energy losses or gains or what the differences are.
Go ahead, Carrie.
Yeah, I'm not aware of what the committee research off the top of my head. I was not on the committee, so but I imagine before the standard is put together, they look at all of the information that's available. And this goes through public comment. So any issues or concerns with any research or information that was out there, I'm sure would have been vetted before this document was put out as a standard.
Yeah, it'd just be helpful. Being an engineer but not a structural, electrical. I've worked on enough projects to know, to see a lot of the challenges on the structural and the thermal bridging stuff, but I don't know quite enough, in this one area to really say either way. And it'd be nice to see the energy modeling or have a structural engineer to actually speak to where the needs and the challenges are and where the cost benefit is.
Thanks, Greg. Go ahead, Lisa.
Thank you. Yeah, just to provide clarification or whatever. As was stated by other folks on the tag, the energy code already allows for thermal bridging. And if a project that is a problem, whether it be balconies or some other element of the building, then the way that is handled is the project has to comply via component performance. The designer has to identify the square foot area of where those thermal bridging elements are, and they have to apply an uninsulated U factor to those assemblies, and that area is included in the component performance calculation. And therefore, other elements of the building have to be a little bit better than code to make up the delta. In the grand scheme of a U factor calculation, that is typically not a very large number. And so, and I'd love to hear from other folks who have gone through this process on a project to, if they've had a different experience. But our understanding is that dealing with that small percentage of the overall envelope and accounting for the thermal bridge so that other elements of the building have to be slightly better than code isn't necessarily a huge lift, but a reduction in allowing for the thermal bridging and not requiring any increase, I would agree, is a step back in code stringency. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Yeah, just to start with, in answer to Lisa, no, actually, it's pretty huge. It's very, very difficult to have uninsulated concrete in your wall assembly and make it up elsewhere. It's because the impact of having even small amounts of uninsulated high conductivity elements such as concrete is it's just overwhelming compared with the impact of insulated assemblies.
I guess it depends on the percentage, right? It depends on the percentage of that.
You know what? It's really remarkable what a small amount of uninsulated concrete does to your overall UA. You should try the calculation sometime. You'll shock yourself.
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
I would like to say that somebody brought up the example of cantilevered balconies. And yes, we had those as a traditional building method, especially for high rises, for a long time. Since Seattle stopped allowing that, everybody has just gone to other methods of doing their balconies. They do the bolt-on or clip-on type balconies that they crane into place, typically all over town, rather than the cantilevered concrete. And so our buildings from the more recent vintage have much better envelopes than they previously did.
Wait, I'm going to jump in real quick too, and I didn't want to discount it, so I want to be clear. Yes, it does impact the UA, depending on the percentage. Some of the items that are listed here will affect it more than others. But this is also already the cantilever balconies. It's already addressed as well. I'm trying to find the section really quick. Where it talks about this, and there is a penalty that's already incorporated.
Yeah, we do allow, you could use that rather expensive system that has the stainless steel reinforcing rods.
IsoCorp or whatever it is. Right,
IsoCorp. I haven't seen that used just because it's, I think, $110 a lineal foot or something. But so we did work out ways around that, but turns out to be more economical for design teams to just use a different method of hooking the balcony on.
Thanks, Dwayne and Lisa. Go ahead, Eric.
Muted. Just real quick, for the proponent, does this meet anything in the IEC or ASHRAE 90.1?
Yes, so this was developed to enhance, complement, even go beyond adding more additional information to 90.1. That was the purpose, because 90.1 did not address in detail and in more to what the industry standard was. So that's the reason for the development of the standards.
Okay. So it meets any intent in 90.1. Do you know on the international? I could probably Google this right now. Hold on. What about the International Energy Code? Hold on.
Yes.
'Cause I think that was our
Yes.
baseline language, right?
So in the commentary, the code applies to commercial buildings and high rises, and to its applicable energy codes and standards such as ASHRAE 90.1 or the IECC. That's the intent.
Perfect.
Wait,
That's
was it adopted by ASHRAE?
At this point, no, it has not been. I think one of the gentlemen mentioned it
That's
went
what I
through the
needed.
process, and it went TMS actually introduced it, and the Ready Mix folks, and they came in and they were not able to get consensus on it. They did have people in favor of it. It just did not get through the consensus. So at this point, it is not adopted in
That's
IECC.
right. I'm actually chair of that committee,
Yeah.
and it was,
You would know.
it was overwhelmingly voted down for the very similar reasons that we're hearing now, that it weakened the standard.
Okay. That's all I had. That's all I needed to know. Thank you. I appreciate that. Both you, Dwayne, and the proponent. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Go ahead, Larry.
It just seems like we're all out against the concrete industry here. I mean, you don't worry about the glass. I mean, you can have a whole wall of glass and you're not worried about that. But here we're putting a little bit of concrete out and it's like the end of the world. But yet
severe limitations on glass.
No, there
Larry.
isn't.
There is.
There's actually a lot of limitations on glass, Larry. Shell's right. There's lots.
Not from what I see over there on the coast. I mean, I see the whole building's plumb full of glass.
Those are buildings permitted under 2015.
Yeah.
Well, they were
still being built. But once you get to 2018, 2021, yeah, you're 40%.
It's 40%, right, Shell, right?
It's 40%. You can get up to 45 if you do some heroic things.
Yep.
But you're not gonna see that.
Okay,
in new buildings.
So 45% of the building's glass. That'd be like, let's do 45% of the building with masonry. I mean, they have about the same U value, okay? Little or none. But yet you're concerned about a little bit of concrete here, and we're going to give 45% of the building wall with glass.
No, what I said was you need to do a lot more if you're going to get to 45% of glass.
Well, even 40%, even 40%.
We've got proposals in here that talk about triple glazing. We're lowering U factors, so we're definitely doing with this code a lot
But
to limit glass.
We're probably talking 2 or 3% of the building here. Come on, 2 or 3%, and you allow 40% of glass. It's not right. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Go ahead, Lisa. We're going to wrap up comments pretty soon. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I understood the detail. So it sounds like this standard was proposed for ASHRAE 90.1 and it was disapproved. And it was also proposed for the International Energy Code 2027 and it was disapproved. Is that correct?
For ASHRAE 90.1.
Yeah, 90.1, and then also it sounds like this was also recommended for the IECC 2027 and it wasn't approved for that standard either, or at least it's not being considered. Is that correct?
I believe so. I did not propose that. It was the Masonry Society and the Ready Mix Association. So I
Lisa, I have not
believe
seen,
so.
I don't remember seeing it come through ASHRAE, but it was brought up at IECC and voted down.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, my take, having reviewed the standards and the materials, is that this is sort of a approach that for none of us really know how difficult it's going to be now that we have to pay a lot more attention to the specific thermal bridges that are now included in our code. We haven't, maybe other people have been doing FIAS projects or something like that and have a good basis of knowledge. I haven't done enough projects to know, are we going to be chasing a lot of improvements elsewhere in the building that we never would have gone to before to make up for these new, they're not new thermal bridges. Some of them are areas that we already tried to account for in a different methodology. Some of them we turned a blind eye to and didn't include in our envelope calcs. So what's being proposed by ACI here is it's definitely a peel back from how stringent the base code language is right now. And you would be in favor of this if you feel like the new thermal bridging requirements are so onerous that we need ways to be more flexible, and essentially assemblies that definitely include thermal bridging that we just don't have to take a penalty for, as opposed to the base code language, acknowledge that those are thermal bridges, find credit elsewhere in your envelope to make up for them.
Thanks, Nathan. All right, Dwayne, and then we're gonna vote.
Just a brief response, Nathan. Everything that's been permitted in Seattle in the last 6 or 7 years has had this level of stringency, and people, what's happened is that people have found other ways to do construction that allow compliance with the code. So it's certainly, there's certainly pretty good history already locally.
That's not true, Dwayne. I mean, I do the Seattle calcs all the time. We didn't account for parapets. They did not show up in our calculations. That's just one example.
We didn't do parapets. We did concrete slabs.
Right, and we had a different methodology than what is now here. We had a simplified methodology essentially.
This is just providing another alternative.
Yep. Thanks, Carrie. Okay, we're going to do a roll call vote. I sense that there's people on different sides of this issue. So the motion is to disapprove. So if you wanted to come back later and approve this, you would vote no. If you want to disapprove this, the vote is yes. Okay, let's vote.
Marty Brennan,
Yes.
Kim Barker,
Yes.
Dwayne Johnlin,
Yes.
Eric Bedell,
No.
Can you see what Hank wants? He just called.
Greg Johnson,
Abstained.
Nathan Miller,
Yes.
Kevin Duell,
Abstain.
Poppy Storm,
Yes.
Larry Andrews,
No.
Lisa Rosenow,
Yes.
Irina Sesarova,
Abstain.
Sloan Ritchie,
Yes.
Nick Manning,
Yes.
Kevin Charp,
Abstain.
Alessandra De La Torre, Deepa, are you here? Okay, motion carries 8-2 with 4 abstentions.
Okay, motion carries 8-2. The this proposal 204, I believe, is disapproved. We are on to 205.
And that was for both. Oh, did we just do one, or was that both of those same proposals?
My understanding of the motion was for 204. Now we're on to 205. We did not have a motion on 205 as far as I know. So
motion to disapprove.
Second.
We now have a motion and a second. This is, I think, largely the similar intent of the last one, but Carrie, do you have a couple words on?
Yeah, so this just provides
Intent?
additional information based on industry um, uh, research and information providing to determine the thermal performance of a multitude of the different masonry systems. So it goes beyond 90.1 and provides these factors that can be used for calculations.
Okay, and this would exempt compliant systems or systems that comply with ACI TMS 122.3, exempt those from calculation in the assembly U factor method. Just large, that's what it would do, right? Functionally?
Yes.
Okay, yep, I just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on this. All right, so I think largely similar to the last one, there's already ways of handling this. Thermal bridges from concrete in the code. This would exempt them from any makeup U factor work. Go ahead, Larry.
I think you stated the wrong one, Shell. Isn't it 025 and not 205?
Okay, sorry, 025, yep.
So I just want to make sure we're clear here. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Larry. Sorry, my screen's kind of small. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, just quick question for the proponent. So what is the U factor that the standard recommends? How is it different than the U factor in the energy code? In the Washington State Energy Code, like what's the number?
I guess I'm knowing more familiar with our standard. It provides the alternatives and additional factors. So I guess if for Washington State, you would need to make sure, we had coordination on that.
Yeah, so the question is the U factor in the Washington State Energy Code is, certain numbers. And I guess that's my basic question is I understand it's covering different applications, but are the numbers in this standard, how much higher are they than the Washington State Code?
Lisa,
What
I don't
about
think
the relief valve?
Lisa, I don't think it allows for higher U factors. It's an alternate set of tables where you could look up U factors for given assemblies. So it kind of turns on its head. You'd have to look at, does the same amount of insulation in this table result in a more favorable U factor that you could claim?
Got it. So it's like an alternative set of default values, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Alternatives.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion to disapprove. That's what's on the table. We had a second for it. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I just have one more question. So in this case, it would be the lower of, we would always take the lower of either one of these two tables. Is that a correct assumption?
I mean, the exception would mean you could do one or the other, and you'd probably take the
higher.
Worse. I'll just say worse, which is
Yeah,
higher.
so, oh yeah,
So
that,
you,
yeah.
you
that's
take
not
the
good.
most, preferable one you wanted.
Yeah, okay, I know. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Go ahead, Nathan.
I would say this proposal does not, in my mind, cause as much consternation as the previous one. It's not specifically sort of allowing loopholes. The question is whether you believe this is a reasonable standard, as an alternative to looking things up in ASHRAE Appendix A to come up with U factors for assemblies. ACI tends to argue that compared to ASHRAE, their tables are more complete, more representative of assemblies. I have not personally done a point-by-point comparison, though, to know if it is significantly less stringent or not.
Okay, thanks, Nathan.
Is that information available is my question. Point by point comparison, because that's really, I don't know how we can make a determination if this is our code more stringent or less stringent.
I agree with that, right, Lisa? Like if this is better and it's, in my opinion, it's more stringent, then why wouldn't we go with this, right? But it also
Eric,
feels
because it's an exception, even if it was more stringent, people just wouldn't use the exception. right? So
Yeah, okay.
people will get to take the least stringent path through the code is a working assumption I have. And so if it was more stringent, they wouldn't take it. If it was less
Yeah.
stringent, they would take it.
Okay. Thank you, Shel.
Yeah, so it wouldn't make the code more stringent. It probably would make it less stringent in some ways. Go ahead, Greg.
I was just going to suggest, what if we said where the U factor for an assembly is not already defined in ASHRAE or in our current code, then you can use this one. So that would basically saying if they had the same assemblies shown in both locations, then you can't use the ACI version. You have to use what we've already defined. But if it's not defined, would that be a reasonable way to handle it?
I would, if that's a question to me, I would not consider it to be a friendly amendment to my motion.
Okay, well, let's vote. The motion is to disapprove proposal 025. Thank you, Larry, for correcting me on that. And so a yes vote would be to disapprove, a no vote would be to do something else. So let's do a roll call vote.
Marty Brennan, Marty, are you there?
Sorry, I honestly missed the last 2 minutes, so probably abstain at this moment.
Okay.
Kim Barker,
Yes.
Dwayne Junlin,
Yes.
Eric Bedell,
Yes.
Greg Johnson,
Abstain.
Nathan Miller,
No.
Kevin Duell,
Abstain.
Bobby Storm,
Yes.
Larry Andrews,
No.
Lisa Rosenow,
Yes.
Irina Sesarova,
Abstain.
Sloan Ritchie,
Yes.
Nick Manning,
Yes.
Kevin Charup,
Abstain.
Alessandra De La Torre, Deepa Savarja. Okay, motion passes 7-2 with 5 abstentions.
The motion passes. 025 is disapproved. We are on to the next one, which is 236 Andrews. This is about hot water piping. So Larry, you have the floor. We covered this
We touched
once a
on
while
it.
ago.
We
Yeah.
touched on it just a little bit.
Yep.
So, I think we should look at this page by page, I think is the best, because there's so much involved. And, so the first page, C 404.1, I was going to remove CO 4.2.2 in that section. That's red. Red means to get rid of. And then C 404.2.1, service water heater shell, and I put can. And then I had the green writing with electric resistance, gas heat pumps or fossil fuels, hydrogen, e-diesel from the 12 company meeting the requirements of this section. Supplemental service water heater equipment is permitted to be used with electric resistance, fossil fuel, hydrogen, or e-diesel from the 12 company, or I would like to say similar companies. And then in the red section, I would get rid of in compliance with section C 404.2 1.4. So, and this has to do with EBCA. It's to make it EBCA compliant. So then we go to the next page.
Greg, you might have a comment on this particular page. So before we go to the next one, if you have a comment on this page, go for it.
Yeah, so I mean that section 404.2.1 we've all rewritten completely. If your intent is to add in allowance for hydrogen or e-diesel, then it'd be better if we included those as system types in the table as opposed to trying to modify this language.
Well, that's fine with me, as long as we can do it. So, so then I got C 404.2.1.3 system design. Instead of shall, I put can. And then if we go to C 404.2.1.4 supplemental heat, I removed all of it. And then if we go to C 404.2.1.5 system fault detection, I removed if the building has a control system. I didn't want to have to put a whole control system in if it wasn't already in the building for this. If it's already in the building system, that's fine. But if it's being put in for just this, I'm saying I don't believe the cost is justified. Heated water supply, I put got rid of shall and can, and the flow rate through 1/4 inch, that doesn't even meet the plumbing code, and the 5/16 doesn't meet the plumbing code. I'm talking about inside the walls, inside the building walls. I'm not talking about once you pass the sheetrock and you put a valve on it, then you might be able to use some of this stuff. But what I'm talking about is what's inside behind the walls. Then we have, let's see, let's get to the section. C 404.2.1.1, number 3, readout in nominal pipe size is because those sizes are not in the nominal pipe size on the table. Okay, so you've listed a bunch of nominal pipe sizes here, like the 1/4 inch, that's not in your nominal pipe size table. And so that shouldn't even be here. 5/16, that's not in the nominal pipe size table. 5/8, that's not in the nominal pipe size table. 7/8 is not in the nominal pipe size table. And then what I did is I looked at actually having to do this as a plumber. And so the ones I made changes on, so let's see. So you have 3/8. So I boosted it up to 15 feet because the minimum amount of water that's in 15 feet of 3/8 is trivial amount. And 1/2 inch, I boosted up to 15 feet. Because what I'm thinking is you're down in the joist or down below the concrete and the floor, you're running along, you got to come up the wall and then out into the faucet. And I can't imagine it not taking approximately 15 feet to do that. A pipe. And then on 3/4, which is a nominal pipe size, I went to 7.5 feet. And then 1 inch, I dropped to 5 feet, 1.25 inches, 5 feet. And why I went to 5 feet on all those is how do you physically get there? And 5 feet isn't very long, okay? in pipe, actual pipe length. I'm not talking about angle or distance. The actual length of pipe ran's 5 feet. A half a foot, that's 6 inches of pipe. That's just not achievable. Okay, and then C 404.3.2, public lavatories, not more than, I got rid of the 2 ounces and I went to 22.5 ounces. That's about 2 1/4 cups of water. That to me is a reasonable amount of, you're talking fractions, maybe 2 to 3 seconds at the velocity of 4 feet a second to get that water there. Okay. And then, so then let's go to table C 404.5. I put styrofoam or EPS with at least 25 pounds per square inch with 10% compression. Maybe we need to strike styrofoam because she said you couldn't. I thought styrofoam, many companies talk about that. But the problem is all foam is compressible. And when you put incompressible there, it's not physically possible, okay? Because when you put a load on foam, you're going to compress it down to a certain point. I mean, maybe possibly if you had 100 PSI foam that they use on runways for aircraft that they put heated systems on, you might, but let's say you put an 80-gallon water heater on that. You're talking 1,000 pounds. You're going to probably even compress 100 PSI foam. Okay, somewhat. Okay, because the foam is going to compress some. So then we talk about C 404.6. I put high compression strength insulation, not non-compressible. Have you ever seen any insulation that you couldn't compress with your hands, just with your fingers? So the industry says high compression strength. So that means it's not like the insulation that you would put in a building wall. It has some strength to it, but it's still compressible. So they don't, to my knowledge, unless you go to it's called Kalo insulation, which we use outside underground, I have never seen any fiberglass or the rubber product that wasn't compressible. So most manufacturers would call it out as high compression strength. Okay. So then I went to C 404.6.2 storage tank insulation. Here's the problem. Nobody in the piping industry or the tank industry calls out an R2 value. I propose a 1/2 inch. And the reason why you don't use R values on pipe is because it's based off of the temperature that's inside the pipe and what you want the surface of it to be at. Okay. And so if we're storing a tank, like our values all based off 70 degrees or 75 degrees. But in a tank insulation or pipe insulation, do we have 120-degree water in there? Do we have 140-degree water? Do we have 160-degree water? That's why we use the thickness, and we actually use a K factor based on that. And our charts have went to that. And it's thankful because that's the way the industry is. So then let's go on here. C 404.8 demand controls. I or no, excuse me, C404.9 domestic hot water metering. I don't know how you could meter the hot water for domestic purposes. Now I can meter hydronic water, but I don't know how much of it went away. Okay. So you can put a meter on there and you can recirculate it around. Okay.
Joe, point of order, may I?
Sure.
We have at least 20 separate proposals here, right? And I can't
That's a lot of
imagine that
proposals, yeah.
And I'm guessing that the tag is going to insist that we vote them individually one by one all the way through. Is that right?
I think a motion could be made to do anything with this, or multiple motions could be made on this. Yeah, I think
'Cause we're like
Larry's
hearing this, and then we're going to have to hear it all over again when we discuss every individual one, right?
Dwayne, don't I get a chance to speak like you've had
No,
all these times?
No, I just want to know if we're going to have to go through these all again when we consider them all one by one, in which case we talk about them all over again.
I mean,
Is
we've
that
talked
just-
about some of these for hours, and I'm probably going to summarize it up in 10 to 15 minutes, Dwayne. And I'm sorry that you don't have that kind of time.
Dwayne, I think Larry's introducing this, and then I think what I'm hoping is tag members are writing down sections that they like or don't like or think would be good for the code or bad for the code, and then motions could be made to accept certain pieces of this or I think the whole thing at once would be probably challenging, to your point, Dwayne. But pieces of this or groups of these things that maybe work or don't work. And I'm hoping tag members make motions on pieces of this, but not 20, maybe a smaller number than 20 individual pieces of this. So please write down what you like and you don't like, and then make motions on those things. Go ahead, Larry.
Okay, so I don't know how the possibility to meter domestic hot water, unless you were to put a meter on every apartment or every room, and then the meter only moves because you're recirculating the water, right? So you're going to recirc all the way down to the last fixture and you're coming back. And so if you look at the complexity of what you're asking here, I think it's beyond possible to do an accurate job here of anything when you're doing domestic hot water, because
So you're saying it's not possible to comply with the code as written?
As written. Okay. And because you don't know how much you've lost and how much is circulating back and at what temperature it's coming back at. Where a hydronic system, it just circulates around and you can calculate the BTUs going in and out. But you're using water here. Okay. And so that's where the complexity would be extreme, because you're probably going to take it all the way to the end of the last fixture, and you're probably going to come back with a 1/2 inch or 3/8 pipe. And then you're going to have a balancing valve that goes back to your central recirculating system that's set for so much flow. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay. But then you're losing water. So how do you accommodate that? Okay. So then I look at the title of the whole section here. It's service hot water heating. That means to me as a plumber, domestic hot water. So why do we have energy consumption of pools and permanent spas in a domestic hot water section? So what I'm saying is that we should make a new section for energy consumption of pools and permanent spas because it's not service hot water. Okay. It's not domestic. It's not potable water. And when I looked at your primary source of heat prohibited, I wanted to strike that in that yellow section. Okay. So then we continue on to C404.11.4. That whole section, I think, needs to be moved out of this because it is not, I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm saying we need to move it into its own section. Okay, so then C404.1.4, demand response electric heating. So I wanted to add fossil fuel, e-diesel, hydrogen fuel. And then on the 120 gallon nameplate, I wanted to add, instead of 12 kW, I wanted to go to 15 kW. So, and then I have 3 inserts in here of what I drew. And I drew a typical bathroom here used in commercial spaces like the ones that we have. Can you move to that, Krista?
It's on the next page.
I gave a drawing. And there it is. Okay. This is very typical of what we use here in Spokane for strip malls, with have a warehouse, a small office space, and we have lots of these around here, and we have them in my facility. I've given the dimensions that we can actually do this without a circulating pump and all the expense. And it only takes a few seconds, and my pipe isn't even insulated here, okay? It only takes a few seconds to get hot water to the lavatory, and to require a timer, temperature probe on it, and a pump, and then to get an electrician out here to do this is beyond ridiculous. Okay. We're not, it's 2.25 cups of water to get, and that's for the first draw in the morning, to get water, hot water to that lavatory. And as you go through the day, it's even less than that. Okay. And so I believe that the numbers that I've given you gets us to where we are allowed to do this in a small bathroom configuration. And I just think of the energy that you're going to be wasting here. I mean, you're going to have a pump that's going to come on 24/7 all the time, and it's going to be circulating. What a waste of energy. Okay. So then I've got documentation from one of the manufacturers, the next page, to document what high compression strength, what they're calling high compression strength insulation, which I think is important. And then I included documentation for, it said styrofoam. I believe 2 manufacturers call it styrofoam. It's personally, I'd like to see closed foam insulation here, but you can see the compression strength. Look at the 100 PSI compression, PSI, it still has 5% compression. Okay, so all foam is going to compress somewhat that we have available to us all. And so I don't think we should put an unrealistic verbiage in there that cannot be achieved. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So as Dwayne alluded to, there's a lot here. I don't think, we were not going to spend 4 hours going through this proposal to pick up pieces. So hopefully you're writing down things that you like or don't like. Greg, go ahead.
So I agree that we should divide the question, and I think I'll start with something that should be non-controversial. So right where you're at on the screen, or excuse me, it's down where the C404.5. So down where it talks about the insulation. So for insulation, a couple things is styrofoam, we shouldn't mention that's a name brand. There's EPS. That's what most people use because it's the cheapest. But people could use XPS. They could use, well, the graphite GPS if they wanted to, or polyiso. I don't think they'd ever do that. But I think a better way to define it would be to say rigid insulation with a compressive strength of 25 psi or greater. And then not specify the type of rigid insulation. That would be the
And then we'd get rid of great enough to hold the load, put a pond on it from there.
yeah.
That's some code language.
Yeah, and I think that would be a really good way to, you know, I mean, to go with that. And there, I think there's a couple other spots where it said styrofoam that we kind of mentioned the same thing. So I guess
yeah, in the sake of time, can we put a motion to approve C404.5?
What if we also put C404.6 in there?
And 404.6, because that's what I'm going to get to. There's a couple things that are really good in this proposal where I'll spell it out. This was one of them. But and then
so I'll second that. I'll second that.
Did Eric, you make a motion to approve both of
Yep.
these
Both
sections
the
as modified?
C404.5 and 404.6 as modified.
And we have a second for that. Anyone want to speak for or against this? Go ahead, Lisa.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I'll respond to the motion, but I also have a general comment too, with regards to what Dwayne was recommending. So I went through this proposal. As Eric mentioned, there are things in this proposal that I don't support.
All right, let's talk about this specifically, the motion on the table. And then
Fair
we can
enough.
get to more general comments.
Fair enough.
Eric?
Oh no, I'm waiting just to vote.
Okay.
So I am going to
Shailesh.
talk in a little bit though.
Okay, Shailesh.
Do we define high compressive strength? Is there a defined term or what that means? High means.
I would assume people would look in the prior section, but incompressible is also equally undefined.
That's defined as insulation requirements, Shailesh. It's that is way the insulation people define that type of insulation.
Yeah, high compressive strength is, and it's, I thought it was 40 or 60, not 25, but
that's why I put the cut in there so you could see exactly what the manufacturers are saying.
Yep. Okay, Lisa.
Yeah, just a couple comments about section C404.5. Just some wordsmithing here. It states that, okay. I see. So has it been edited, Krista?
Yes, this is with Greg's edits.
This is with Greg's edits. Thank you.
And you could leave in the at 10% compression. That would be worth leaving in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to follow what the actual language is going to be. This time, I'm not sure. So okay, I'll wait till it's done.
It's done.
It's done. Okay. So it says it shall be placed on a rigid insulation. I guess you could take out the word a with compressive strength of 25 psi at 10% compression or greater insulated. That doesn't
greater strength
or greater strength.
Or yeah, a little bit more wordsmithing.
Okay.
There.
I think if we have an intent, the MVP committee and the council can figure it out. We do not have time to wordsmith. This proposal as a whole has a great amount of wordsmithing that would need to be done, I think, if we were going to accept it all. And we don't have time to do that today. So I think if we have an intent in there, we could change the intent at the MVP, or not change the intent, but change the specific words later. I don't want to get hung up on that today.
It should be 10% or less, or less. So you don't want to go over 10%. So it should be, that's originally what we put in there. Or less
Okay.
compression.
So if we're wordsmithing or not, I'd say if the plan is just, we're 90% there, let's just wordsmith this one and be done with it, and then create a plan for the remainder of the proposal. Then this could be, sounds like it could be worded so that you have rigid insulation with compressive strength of 25 PSI or greater at a 10% or less
Compression.
Compressive strength or something. I guess maybe that's where the trouble is, but that could be fixed. And then on section C404.6, it just, we leave it as shown, shall be surrounded by high compressive strength insulation. Take the word compressible out. Larry, does that meet the intent of your?
I think that meets the intent.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Dwayne.
So just a little objection here. And that's that Shailesh, back me up on this if you can, but I think this wording has been in the code for like 20 or 30 years, and it's never caused any difficulty, and everybody knew, and nobody had to look up what the compressive strength of their home insulation was, because it actually doesn't even matter. You just didn't want to put piece of some sort of mineral wall in there or something. So people have just been putting in a little square of some kind of foam insulation, and it's been good enough. And so now we're adding a little level of complexity that somebody's going to have to go and look up exactly what kind this is. I don't really see this as being necessary.
Thanks, Dwayne. Okay, we have a motion to approve 404.5 and 404.6 as modified on the screen. All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed say no.
No.
Okay, motion passes. So we have C404.5 and C404.6. Lisa has some overall comments. I also want to make an overall comment that a lot of the language in this is not acceptable code language, and we do not have hours to wordsmith every piece of it. So let's be careful what we try and get into with this. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yes, thank you. So I went through and reviewed the whole proposal, and as far as I can tell, there are essentially 11 independent topics in this proposal. I think that we could expediently go through the proposal by section and make a determination on how you want votes to happen. We've just taken care of one of them, which is great. But from what I can tell, there are 10 more topics in this proposal. And so I think we could go through this pretty expediently if we consolidate the conversation to each section. I don't know if anybody has a better idea.
So Lisa, I was thinking the same thing. I think there's 4 or 5 of them that can be really voted on quickly, because I think it could be really quick, right? I could make a motion to accept 5 of them. And see where it lays. It's in my opinion, it's the non-controversial ones.
Yes.
And if you accept that, I'll make a motion right now, and we can go through those 5 real quick.
Sure, I'm happy to go about this in any way that we can, put particular attention to each one of Larry's ideas and make a determination about each one. I think that would be important to make sure.
So I'm going to make a motion to accept C404.2.1.5, which is the system fault detection. That's on page 4.
Okay, I'm gonna just a second. I want to write this down.
Yeah, these are non-controversial. Like, they're not going to take a lot of time. C404.3, heated water supply piping that can and get the flow rate. I really do think C404.3.1 is great. That is in the approval. You're right, Larry, these pipe sizes don't exist. And then,
Well, could I note, Eric, 5/8 does exist. Now, usually it's for hydronic, not for service water heating, but 5/8 is the only one in there that does exist.
okay.
It's
In
not,
PEX-
it's
in
not,
PEX, though.
it's not nominal. It's not nominal in copper pipe.
All right,
It's
let's
not-
let Eric
Okay.
do his motion, and then we will discuss.
And then the last one is C404.3.2, which is the maximum allowable pipe volume method for approval.
Okay, so Eric, could you repeat the very first one of those?
Yes, I can. Hold on, I got it marked up on my screen right here.
Okay.
Yep, it's C404.2.1.5, which is if the building has a control system.
Okay.
That's the one. The next one would be C404.3, the shall and the can. And yep, all
So
that
this
would
is
be,
the entire C4 4.3.
Yep.
All the way down, but not C4 4.3. No, then you also have C4
Yeah, I did.
4.3.2. So it would go all the way down there.
Yeah.
Wait a second, you consider that non-controversial to go from shell to can on the heated water supply piping?
Yeah, I do.
That's wow.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Eric and a second. Eric, why don't you speak to your motion? You have a
Yeah,
little bit, but keep
I do.
going with it.
So the first one, if the building has, seems pretty straightforward to me. It's the control system. Some buildings have control systems. Some buildings don't have control systems. Seems straightforward. I did not see any issue with heated water piping shall be in accordance. It can be in accordance. Actually, you know what, Dwayne? I'm going to agree with you on that one. I just reread that. I'm going to agree with you on that. I'm going to take away, but I do agree with the second sentence. The flow rate through a 1/4 inch piping shall be. You could never measure a 1/4 inch flow rate through a half GPM. So Dwayne, I agree with you on that. I remove. Yep, there you go. Keep shalling. The rest of it, the readout and the nominal pipe size columns, agree with the your synopsis there, Larry.
So all the columns,
Can we keep the 5/8 just because I know it's not available in copper, but it's available in PEX. PEX is used for 5/8 sometimes.
Gregory, perfect. We're gonna shorten this.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
In the plumbing side of things, this is what we're talking about. Domestic hot water, domestic. It's not ever used. It's used in hydronic. The 5/8 was brought on for glycol systems and for loops, but it's not used in the plumbing high potable water systems. We never use 5/8 out there, and it isn't even in the plumbing code. Okay, so that's why I eliminated it.
You're correct, Larry, but
I thought it was allowed for short runs.
No, you don't. It's not even in the plumbing code, Dwayne. I wish it was sometimes, but it's not. It's
Isn't
not
it
in
in
the.
Appendix A? I thought it was part of Appendix A.
It's not in the uniform plumbing code. Period. 5/8.
But I thought I could have sworn I've seen 5/8. No, this is a
Out of
residential.
an abundance of caution and to be expedient, to the extent that exists, why not allow it? To the extent it doesn't exist, nobody's going to use it anyway. So I guess I don't see issue with. I don't want to debate
Sure.
this.
Sure,
forever.
that's fine, Shell. That's fine.
Okay. So we have a motion. Eric, were you done explaining?
Yeah,
the motion?
and then agree with for the public laboratory to increase that. 2 ounces is so minuscule. You could never. I mean, I don't know if it's 22.5 ounces. I don't know, but I know it's not 2 ounces for a public laboratory faucet. So I agree with that. I'm just saying yes. So hopefully that limits us down to 6.
Okay, so there are 3 major pieces to that. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to ask Eric if you'd be it'd be friendly to pull out, Krista, can you scroll up? I just want to make sure I get the section number right. Keep, okay, stop. So in my mind, section C404.2.1.5 actually is not trivial. And it's like an independent topic. And so it's going to be difficult to vote for that one and the water heating one. And so I don't know if it.
More than happy if we could pass this with, so Lisa, I accept your, again, I don't want to make this to be a 2-hour long on the proposal. I think Shell's, so I'm just going to say yes to that.
Okay.
And yes to what? That's
so
removing
system fault
404.
detection. If the building has a control system.
Yeah, that'll be like a separate topic versus the heating water supply. The heating water supply piping recommendations is its own standalone.
Wait a minute. I wanted to go back to what Lisa, you proposed and Eric agreed to. Is that not including 404.2.1.5 in the motion?
I think he was dividing the question.
Yeah, I'm recommending that we divide it so that C404.2.1.5 is not voted because I think it's a separate topic.
Okay.
I'm thinking we're coming to a conclusion here that it's not actually going to save us time to try to combine things into big.
I think you're
it's
right,
much
Dwayne.
more expedient to just do one at a
sorry.
time, because I can't keep in my mind which is in and which is out.
Yeah, I'm doing the same, but Dwayne, I will say, I think this one here, the heating water supply piping section, it is a standalone proposal. It should have been submitted that way, but that's fine. We're going to support, we're going to take care of it. The rest of them, I think Eric's correct. There'll be about 5 or 6 remaining independent topics that we can discuss individually.
Okay.
So I would still support Eric's recommendation to, have the tag vote on the package of recommendations under C404.3 and all subsections, but have the C404 2.1.5 be a separate conversation because I have opinions about that one that's hasn't been mentioned.
Okay, and it may or may not be all subsections. I guess it is all the way down to C404.4. Okay.
Yeah, and C4.
All right, so we have a
one language is not good.
Say that again.
Read out nominal pipe size column is because those sizes are not nominal pipe sizes on table.
Yeah, that's number 3 under 404.3.1 is not. So I didn't understand the motion to include that number 3. I included the motion to include. I understood the motion to include C404.3. And C404.3.2, but not the modification in C404.3.1 because that's not code language.
Well, I had that he moved the 404.3.1 and the table. So
okay, so we cannot have number 3 under 404.3.1 in that's not
I cannot
code language.
I cannot keep track of what all is included. Could we just please go through these individually instead of trying to memorize which ones are in and out?
Yes, let's just go through.
Right now we're talking about C404.3.
Yeah, let's just go
only and all and the subsections under C404.3. That's all we're talking about right now. That's the motion, and I think the motion cannot include number 3 under C404.3.1. Eric, can you remove that
I
from the
agree.
motion?
So let's remove number 3.
It's not
We'll
code
vote on
language.
404.3, and then Dwayne will go through each one as you requested. After that, that's fine.
Oh.
Yep, and my first comment to this, while I still have the floor, claim the floor,
please,
at the moment, is under section C404.3. I wholeheartedly agree with Dwayne Johnlin that that the word "can" is a pretty drastic reduction in stringency in the code, and so
the motion includes "shall."
Okay.
Yeah, we removed that. I agree 100% with Dwayne after I reread that myself. Thanks, Dwayne.
And then my other comment is with regards to the table in C404.3.1. It's not clear to me why the maximum pipe length for other fixtures and appliances other than public labs has been struck. That would be also a reduction in stringency. So Larry, can you speak to that?
Yeah, when you said other fixtures and appliances, I started to think about what we're talking about here in an industrial environment where we have all kinds of sinks, commercial sinks in the middle of nowhere. And I just didn't see a need for it, because the whole need that I see is to get the hot water there to wash your hands. Okay. And if you want to keep all those footages in there at, if you would equal the lavatories with the other, but I can't see how you're going to get to why you would need that. I mean, but if you want to keep them, that's fine. But on the 1 inch, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, and 2, I think you need to keep them at 5 feet. Okay.
Okay,
If you
Eric, as
want
the
to keep,
maker of the motion, what do you think about that? Other than keeping basically all the numbers under other fixtures and appliances? Eric?
No issues. I'm just being upfront with you. I'm just gonna say no issues.
No issues with keeping all those numbers under other fixtures and appliances?
Keeping, yes.
Keeping. Yep, not putting them in red.
Yep.
Yeah, and to clarify that and make sure everybody understands what that column is addressing, is it's basically saying that there are separate lengths that are defined for public labs.
Yeah.
And then the second column, that is for absolutely everything else.
Yep, 100%. So we do want to keep that, Lisa.
Yes.
I would agree 100% with that.
so I'd like to keep the bottom on the 2 inch at 5 feet instead of 4, if that's possible.
The 2 inches, the bottom one.
The bottom
That's
one.
4 feet. Okay,
That's,
yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. Well, Chris is doing this. Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, thank you. So is the intent here to, how shall I say this, accept separate measures as an intent, and then at some other time work out the details, say in a work group or something? I want to make sure I understand the intent of the emotion.
The intent of the motion is to approve the language, but a work group and the MVPE committee, the council and the public will have opportunity to weigh in on this later.
Okay, thank you.
So a work group could form and come up with slightly better language or slightly different language or something like that. Okay, we have a motion which is to approve C404.3 and subsections as modified today and send it on to the as part of our package.
Oh,
did we strike out the yellow stuff at the top of the page? Was that stricken?
Yeah, that was to be stricken.
I thought that was to be inserted, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought that was to be inserted.
Okay.
Are you sure about that, Larry?
Yeah,
That's
because you can't have the 1/4 inch or the 5/16 inch pipe to begin with, unless you're outside the wall. If you want to say outside the wall there, I'm all for it, but we don't want any of that inside the walls in the buildings.
So that's existing language. So what is what's being recommended?
If you want to put outside the structural wall and you want to have that in there, that's fine. But not inside the wall, because you're going to replace it. And do you want to go back into these walls and start replacing stuff? I don't think so. If you want to put outside the structural
Okay,
wall.
I think it was stricken in the proposal.
Yeah, it was.
My
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Dwayne.
Yeah, for that, at the very bottom of your screen, for that number 1, you have to strike that second sentence. It's just commentary. And I don't know where the 22.5 came from, but the ounces that was put there was meant to be the same as what was in those various pipes at their lengths, so that you, especially for conditions where you had where a pipe size changed mid-run, that you could you could figure ounces instead of feet, but whatever the ounces is, it has to match, say, 1/2-inch pipe at 15 feet long.
It does, Dwayne. A half-inch
Okay.
pipe gives you that 22.5 ounces for half-inch pipe.
Okay, that's fine then, as long as that other sentence is gone.
Thanks, Dwayne. Okay, we have a motion, which is to approve C404.3 and subsections as modified by the tag today. All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed say no. Okay, motion passes. Lisa, go ahead.
Okay, I think we can take care of 4 other sections expediently. We go back up to the top.
You're sure this is gonna be faster than doing them one by one?
Yes, it is. You'll see. Okay, so section C404.1 general, that edit there, Larry, that you picked up, that was a good catch. But my proposal, that number 297, which was approved, already cleans this language up. And so I don't think that edit is necessary. It's already been removed.
Okay. I'll
Okay.
take, thanks, Lisa.
Okay, so there's that one. Number 2, so for C404.2.1, my question to Greg, and actually there's that one and C404.2.1.4, which strikes supplemental heating. But as a question to the tag, both of those sections have been thoroughly edited as a part of section 279. And so my question is, are these changes, are they going to be complementary to 279, or are they just, are they going to cause conflicts with 279 that we now have to address? And so
yeah.
Well, it's not just 279, it's 232, which was because really these sections are mostly modified by 232 and I mean, there's a couple other ones, proposal you put in and Dwayne put in. And so, yeah, it would cause conflicts. The essence where I think there might be opportunity is if we wanted to add for e-fuels, we could take that, but we wouldn't add it here. The way we would add it is we'd have to add a line item in the C404 or the C403 tables, assuming Larry wanted to do the same thing with e-fuels for space heating as he does for water heating. And so you'd have to have a definition in the tables for the minimum performance. And then you would have to add a line in the table in the C406 for that system type.
What about the hydrogen, Greg?
You could do hydrogen and e-fuel, both of them, but the way to accomplish it, an example would be, we just looked at the gas heat pumps. In the 279, you saw that we added a line in the table for the minimum performance the code would require, and then we added lines in the C406 table saying this is the system type and these are the.
If a work group wanted to do that, they could do that and recommend that to the MVPE committee. Go ahead, Lisa.
I like Lisa's point that we spent a fair amount of time going through this at least twice on other proposals that have sort of ironed out.
I agree completely. I think we have good language for this. A work group could come up with the ideas here and put them into 279 as approved by the tag multiple times. Go ahead, Lisa, with your.
Yeah, so in the spirit of what Larry's proposing here, Greg's mentioned that, well, that 279 working group will take into consideration the recommendations here, and perhaps the tag does not need to address section C404.2.1 and C404.2.1.4 in this proposal. That's my question or recommendation to Larry.
That's fine. That's fine. As long as we address it in the other section.
Great, thank you. And then, so now that puts us back to C404.2.1.5. Under system fault detection, it's at the bottom of the screen there. Great. So my question on this one, I agree that maybe the language could be improved here. However, when it talks about a control system, I'm not reading that this is requiring a DDC system. This is the control system associated with the equipment. And so, fault detection can be a part of the control package for the unit itself. And so I'm not sure, this seems to imply that the changes seem to imply that this language is pointing to whether you have a DDC system or not, and that's not what the language says. And so, Larry, do you have a more to add to this?
So what you're saying is if we had heat pumps and we had a storage tank and we want to keep the storage tank at 120 or 130 degrees, that there would be some type of detection system put in that would say, hey, we're getting too low on temperature. Is that what we're talking about here?
No, this is, and please, anybody on the tag who has better information than me, my understanding of this language, it says that it needs to have some form of fault detection within the system itself that will trigger some type of an alarm, whether it be at the unit, or if there's a DDC system, it's sent there, but somehow there's an alarm that lets the maintenance personnel know that the system is faulting.
Yeah, so Lisa, you're saying this is a equipment level control, not a building level control.
But okay, so let's take this back one step further. Okay, so you've got my simplistic hot water system that I drew on that paper. So are we going to require that system to let me know that I'm going to have I'm going to have to alert that the hot water tank's out when I go over there to put my hands under there? That's what I'm saying is we got to have some limits here, because that shouldn't be required in a single source like this for a small building, for small apartments, or for your coffee shop. Or I mean, you're going to know when you go to wash your hands if the water's cold. If the water's cold, you're going to go call the plumber and see what the problem is. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, you're going to require a lot of cost here.
Go ahead, Lisa. I think you made your point, Larry. Go ahead, Lisa. What was your critique of this?
Yeah, so I was just, my critique of this is that, there's two different levels here. I think what Larry's talking about, and I get it, that it's the last bullet point, or low hot water supply delivery temperature to building distribution system. Yeah, that would require fault detection beyond the piece of equipment itself. And so, perhaps that's the concern, but I wouldn't support removing the requirement to have some type of fault detection at the unit itself. And so that's my comment about it.
So let me ask, Lisa. So with a single hot water heater, with the drawing that I gave you, you want to have a fault detection system to say that the hot water isn't working right? I mean, really, do we really want to do that for these smaller? I mean, I could see for a big building, but I don't see it for a small application.
Then perhaps a recommendation could be to set a size limit or something like that. But I don't think we want to remove this for the point you just made, which is for large systems. I think it's important that there's a control system that sends a fault message of some sort. And so that's my only concern.
Okay. So we need to come up with a sizing there. Maybe I'd like to have a little time to think about it, but
Okay. I am going to, so Lisa, you were making a motion to do something. I think that's a reasonable thing.
I wasn't making a motion. I was giving Larry an opportunity to hear feedback before a motion's made.
Okay, because what I would like to do at this point is, seeing that there's appetite for a bunch of these things, but yet code language needs to be modified for a bunch of these, research needs to be done. I would propose that the tag table this proposal And if we don't get to it at the end of by the end of today, that it goes to the MVPE committee for their review. We have other things that I'd rather have, and that we then also form work groups to help Larry and others come up with good code language and go through the ideas in this, so that we have good code language to consider. We don't need to wordsmith everything. So my suggestion is that we table this to the end of the meeting, and if we don't get to it today, it goes to MVPE.
So moved.
Okay.
I actually would like to make a motion on one section that we could just take care of. Would that be acceptable, or do we need to wait till the end of the meeting?
I think we're tabling this, and besides, we're in the middle of a tabling vote, so we can't do anything.
Yeah, we just did a motion to table. So
Okay.
just did a motion to table. Sorry, Lisa. I asked you if you had a motion a minute ago, and I didn't hear that you did, so I
Fair enough.
figured it was time to move on. All right, all in favor of tabling this at the end of the meeting, say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. Okay, all right, we're going to take a 10-minute
Did we have
lunch
a
break.
second to that motion? I only got
We
a
had
paper of the
two-
motion.
I'll give you a second. I'll give you a
it was-
second.
It was
It was Kevin.
Kevin and Dwayne.
Yeah.
Okay.
On that one.
Pick your choice.
Yep. Okay, so we're taking a 10-minute break. I'll see you at 12:31. Please show up and refreshed and ready to spend the next hour and a half in serious consideration of the last 7 proposals. All right, see you at 12:32.
Is it just me or can I not hear you, Chell?
Okay, how about now?
Ah, better.
Okay, all right. I forgot to put my speaker down. All right, welcome back. That was too short for lunch. Please eat at your leisure with your cameras off, as you are probably doing. We approved a proposal earlier today that did include low carbon district energy. So I see this as, probably different than that in some ways. So Larry, you have the floor. This is your proposal.
I think since we've already approved the other one, I think I just withdraw. Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Thanks, Larry.
we've already went through it all and spent a lot of time on it. So, okay.
Okay. Thanks, Larry.
You're welcome.
Proposal 283 is withdrawn. We are on to 148. Lisa, you have the floor.
Hey. Okay, so this is intended as a cleanup proposal. What we've discovered, responding to questions about the commissioning requirements through tech support, is that the exceptions, the exception language, there was some overlaps and some conflicts. And so that's what this proposal attempts to address. It clarifies the exceptions to the commissioning requirements apply to the scope of the project. And this is something that we discussed with other commissioning professionals. And the challenge is that some of the language says that these thresholds apply to the whole building, and some of them say that they apply to the equipment. And in reality, that when you've got a project that is a separate tenant improvement or a separate area, that applying this at the whole building level is almost impossible for folks to sort that out, especially if you have a tenant space that is being renovated. If whoever's responsible for that tenant space, if they have to go back and figure out what's the total capacity of everything else in the building to figure out if commissioning applies or not. It's just too big of an obstacle. And from what I've been hearing from commissioning professionals, that this is a more appropriate way to apply those thresholds. And then also we did identify that the exception language under C408.1, and then there's duplicate exception language under all the subsections, and they don't always match. And so what this does is it removes the exceptions from underneath section C408.2, 3, and 4, and just puts it all under section C408.1. That's my proposal.
Thanks, Lisa. Any comments?
Lisa, was there one spot where we're going to add the words "the following"?
Yeah, thank you. That would be in the exception. Let's go up to section C408.1. So where it says exception there, Krista, add the words "the following systems." Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Dwayne and Lisa. Larry.
And since there's no motion, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
I would like to change this a little bit. And the reason why is churches. We've got a lot of churches here that have 40 tons of cooling, 2 20-ton units, because you're packing all kinds of people in there. And then on the churches, we're seeing quite often up to 720,000 BTUs of input. Each 20-ton has a 360,000 BTUs of heat. And the reason why for that is when you pack all these people in there and it's 20 below outside, you need a lot of heat to bring that temperature up. Okay. And
are you recommending a revision to the threshold capacity for commissioning? I'm trying to understand the comment.
Yeah, I'm asking for an exemption for churches, Lisa. That's what I'm asking for, to kind of keep the cost under control. That's what I'm asking for. So we allow up to 40 tons of cooling and 720,000 BTUs of heat to have an exemption for churches.
Yes, my understanding is commissioning is one of the most cost-effective ways to save energy and make sure equipment is performing properly. So I'd be surprised if commissioning was not going to be a overall economic benefit to churches or other entities.
Yeah,
you have a different experience, Larry?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at their budgets that they got to work with, and a lot of this is getting donated to begin with. Okay. And, I mean, we do a lot of work for the churches, and I mean, we check everything, and we are doing what the equipment's supposed to be doing. And to have someone come behind me and double check me, I mean, it's just an added cost to the people. That's my only thought. I'm trying to help the churches out a little bit. Okay.
Well, Larry, thanks for the comment. And I would say, I put together this proposal on behalf of multiple commissioning professionals. And so I don't think I could make that big of a change to this proposal without consulting them. So my recommendation would be to suggest that as a public comment to this proposal. I'm not opposed to it, but I just don't feel like I can change my proposal.
Yeah, and Lisa, just to be clear, you're using the existing numbers that are in the integrated draft for
That's right.
240,000 BTUH. Yep.
That's right. So
Okay.
this proposal doesn't change any of the thresholds. This particular proposal doesn't change any of the thresholds. I will say one other detail I didn't mention, and that is for the service water heating exception. All I did here was kind of flip it around a little bit because the way it's currently worded, it leans into the capacity with regards to the threshold, when in reality, what is driving whether it's required or not is the circulation system. And so, oh, actually, that's on my other proposal. Never mind. But yeah, that's something else that I wanted to change so that it's clear. But again, this proposal doesn't change the thresholds or any of that. It's intended to clean up both overlaps and conflicts, and to define that the scope is based on it's the scope of the project, not whole building, with regards to the thresholds.
And you had made a motion to approve, is that correct,
Yes,
Lisa?
but I didn't hear a second.
Well, Larry talked
Second
before
from Dwayne.
I was able to ask for a second. So now we have a motion and a second to approve as written. Go ahead, Shailesh.
I think a lot of churches, as was mentioned, they may not have permanent maintenance staff and different people. They may not know how the equipments are, whether operating properly or not. So it works the other way around also sometime, you know. So it should be properly commissioned up front. Thank you.
Thanks, Shailesh. Go ahead, Greg.
So I was just wondering, I see you have a second proposal, Lisa, on 149 that comes up next. Would it be best to talk about the debate on churches during the 149? Would that be more appropriate, or would it be more appropriate to debate that here in 148?
Well, my second proposal does address some changes in thresholds. This one does not. This is strictly a cleanup proposal.
Yep.
So it sounds
So
like
let's-
it might be better to defer that discussion until your next proposal.
Sure.
Would that be appropriate? Because then we're not touching thresholds here, but then we debate thresholds in the next one.
Sure.
Sounds reasonable. Go ahead, Larry.
With Shilas, when we commission something, we don't tell them how to maintain it and everything. We verify that it meets the specs, that the specs were there. But there's very few churches that have a maintenance person running around, and most of it's dictated to contractors like us that are out there doing the services for them. And so I've never seen where in the commissioning process that they're going to tell the priest how they're going to run it. First off, the priest most of them wouldn't have the idea how to do it anyway. And the commissioning that I know of is to make sure that the equipment is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Thank you.
Thanks. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Yeah, there are two important ideas here. One is that that commissioning is not being done by the people who did the work directly, because that way, you know, if you forgot something, missed something, somebody else that's not already involved might be more likely to see it. And secondly, there a lot of systems and buildings, and many buildings have a separate controls contractor that does things that they're working under a separate contract from the mechanical contractor or whoever's doing plumbing, whoever's doing lighting. And so having somebody with overall oversight that looks at all these systems and makes on their own standards, make sure they're all working as they were supposed to, there's really good evidence that does reduce energy use a lot, and it costs very little.
Thanks, Dwayne. That aligns with my experience as well. We've had third-party commissioning on lots of projects, and they often find things that the design and construction teams missed. Go ahead, Greg.
I was hoping we deferred that discussion, but it seems like people want to discuss it now. I mean, I would be, so then I'll just go ahead and say,
I guess, Greg, I was ready to kind of move on to the next one where we would discuss those. So
okay, I can hold my tongue until the next one if that's if we're ready to vote on this one.
That's how I feel. Sloan, were you going to bring up?
I just wanted to second my support for commissioning. It's always there's findings of some significance, and it's always of value to operators. Thank you.
Thanks, Sloan. Okay, we have a motion to approve this. This is a cleanup. It doesn't touch thresholds. All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed say
Yes.
no. Okay, motion passes. This is passed. We are on to 266, John Lynn.
Okay, thank you all. 266, wait a second, I lost myself. This clarifies which commissioning documents get submitted at which times. And it defines the optional compliance paths to allow occupancy before all the commissioning work has been completed, while still ensuring that the commissioning work will be completed after occupancy. If you just look after the that original language, which I found very confusing, all being written like that, what we've got, and this is straight from Seattle's experience and worked out with our tag, the mechanical and water heating parts of the commissioning report have to get submitted before the mechanical permit final inspection. Or before that final inspection is wrapped up. And likewise, the lighting and controlled receptacles and metering parts have to get submitted before the electrical permit final inspection gets wrapped up. And then finally, the full commissioning report and some other information about how you're going to deal with the tenant spaces, the checklist, that's signed by the certified commissioning professional and the statement from the owner that says that they got that report are all submitted. That's kind of just reorganizing what we have into something a little more comprehensible. What's unique here is the post-occupancy commissioning requirements. You see at the bottom of the page there. This is what we've run into, is that commissioning work is being done right up in the point to the point where they get their C of O, and then it all just grinds to a stop. I think of commissioning as how the owner gets what they paid for, in making sure that everything is working. So where there's unresolved deficiency or commissioning tasks, sometimes you have to wait until July before you can run, a stress test on the system or something. When those are not done at the time of the C of O, which is basically all the time, then you got to do something to ensure that the building department gets it, get some insurance that it gets done. So you could get a temporary C of O, which is useful if you've just got a couple of weeks to go till you get everything shipshape. You could post a bond, or by far the most popular route is that the applicant just pulls a separate electrical and mechanical permit with those unresolved commissioning things, plus anything else that's still that the inspectors have been flagging on that, and that rolls forward as a separate permit, and you can close out the main one. That is it.
Thank you, Dwayne. Clear. And it's been in force in Seattle for how long?
That last part of it is new a couple of years ago, and the rest of it is how we've been processing commissioning work up until now.
Okay, thanks, Dwayne. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, so as most people know, I work for a large general contractor, and this is actually part of my job description is the end of the projects and to manage the commissioning projects for our large projects. These projects could be 300 to $1 billion. And Dwayne is correct in the fact that most of these projects, the commissioning has to go past TCO for various reasons. Most of the time, it's to complete the schedule and not claim liquidated damages or to meet whatever financial requirements, build requirements. So we generally get what we call a TCO, which is a temporary certificate of occupancy, and that goes for Seattle or Bellevue or wherever. The commissioning checklist is filled out, And there's always, if that's a requirement by, at least on the west side, I'm gonna speak for Renton, Bellevue, Redmond, and Seattle. And given to the building inspector. At that point, it's up to the code official to basically grant us a TCO. This has a lot of pros and cons to it. I think a lot of people don't understand that the end of the projects is the most hectic time. Sometimes we can't commission systems, as Dwayne mentioned, because it's not the season. So for example, trying to do a chilled water system in the middle of February is generally difficult. Same thing on the opposite of for a heating water system in the middle of July. So it's pushed to get temporary the TCO and then ultimately get a C of O on the project after all commissioning is complete. I'm not sure that I'm trying to think about the whole state though, Shell, where this is very applicable, I think, on big buildings. But to force this on smaller projects throughout the state, that's a difficult scenario. And Dwayne, I get where you want to go on commissioning, and Shell, you said it before, where I think commissioning adds tremendous value to the project. But I'm just trying to think of that, that car dealership that's in Moses Lake, they got to start selling cars, and just to be fair to them, this is really pushing a lot, which commissioning has to be done. Ultimately, the code official will tell you when you can get C of O on a project, but to force this commissioning completion, I trying to think of both ways. So, I mean, people could vote any way they want to vote, but that's just my opinion on the process. Dwayne, do you have any comments on that? Because you've seen it too. I mean, right?
Well, yeah, and what we've certainly this doesn't add any requirements for commissioning, but it does
I
add requirements for wrapping it up. And so what we have seen repeatedly is, and we've heard this from the commissioning agent groups as well, is that like you said, there's moving trucks outside. They're trying to get things signed off. You got a schedule to meet. There's penalties for being late, all that stuff. So we want to get people moved in, and we want to get the commissioning done. And so all this is doing is saying, yes, we're going to finish the commissioning that was code required to begin with. So it just puts it in there in some official way that gives the code people something they can hang their hat on.
That's fair, Dwayne. Thank you for the response. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I guess characterizing this as more of an option than a requirement. Is that how you
No,
characterize it,
it's a requirement. You have, if you didn't finish all the stuff, you have to do one of these three things.
Okay, thanks, Dwayne. Go ahead, Todd, I believe.
Yeah, so speaking from a smaller jurisdiction and dealing with, I have built 3 schools in my jurisdiction in the past 4 years. Schools open in September, regardless of what you're doing. Federal funds will not close on a temporary C of O. They want a full C of O. By making this requirement, you are really tying the hands of the jurisdiction, and my name in the paper above the fold is never a good thing. And when I'm telling a high school they can't open on the day that they're supposed to, and they're trying to scramble to find portables to keep all the kids in, is never going to make it past my city council. So forcing this, I have a problem with. We can find a way around. I love the 2% bond. That is a great idea, because then at least you've got something that you can put in front of them that says, hey, I know you aren't going to be able to get this commissioning report into me before you open, so you're going to bond it. Public Works does that all the time on their end. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work for us. But saying that they aren't going to get their C of O prior to receiving that commissioning report is going to be very, very tough for me.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, Todd, because that's not what this says. This says that you could get the temporary C of O, or you could post the bond, and have your C of O, or, and this is, people don't actually like bonds because they're expensive, and a lot of organizations don't allow them to put themselves at risk that way. And so just having the separate, you're closed out on your main job, you have a separate electrical and mechanical permit that contains, along with whatever other dribs and drabs of things that didn't get signed off by the inspectors, that contains the rest of your commissioning stuff that's unfinished. So we definitely took that into consideration in a way to try to make sure that everybody can move into the high school, put the banners up on the wall and all that stuff. And meanwhile, on the weekends or whenever, they're finishing up on these mechanical controls.
Thanks, Dwayne. That makes sense.
Thanks. All right, Lisa.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve this proposal.
I'll second
And-
that, Lisa.
Thank you. And just a couple of very minor editorial pickups in the top section, Krista.
But you think this is not perfect?
It's really close.
Okay.
So if you could scroll up, Krista. There, yeah. So that first sentence there, where it says the mechanical, if you could add and service water heating.
Okay, you got me.
And then after heating, say, and refrigeration. Since that C408.7 refers to refrigeration, so it's clear. And then in the next section, if you could just add the word energy in front of metering. Again, these are editorial. Let me know, Dwayne, if you think these are friendly.
You're always friendly, Lisa. You are.
I try my best.
That's the modified motion, Lisa.
Yes.
Okay.
My motion with the changes on the screen.
Yep. And Eric, are you good with that? You were the second, I believe.
I am okay with that. I'm going to have one more thing too. Actually, it's
Okay,
a
why don't
friendly
you
thing.
pose that right now?
Yeah. So Dwayne, I actually want to make something a little bit more where it says commissioning checklist on number 2, figure C408 signed by the certified commissioning professional. It should probably say certified professional and owner or owner's authorized agent, because that's how you do it in Seattle too, right? I've always gone and got those commissioning checklists.
Well, look at the one right below it.
Yeah, it sort of doesn't make sense. I saw that statement that the owner has received a copy of the commissioning report signed by the owner and owner's authorized agent. So it seems like it's a double up. I should just say, let's get rid of 3 and just put signed by the.
No, I definitely want to keep both because we want to see the commissioning checklist that was signed. We're hoping that the fact that somebody has to actually certify that this was really done helps to prevent any funny business. And then separately, we want to make sure that the whole report has been delivered to the owner.
But is it the checklist always signed by the owner also? Well, I can tell you, it always is.
I'd be happy to add.
It's more of just housekeeping, right? It doesn't matter to me. It's just as a
I
housekeeping.
can't remember right now if my form, the checklist form that we have posted has an owner's signature space.
It does.
Okay, then sure. And so adding and owner is fine.
By the owner or owner's authorized agent.
Right.
Okay, Shailesh.
Yeah, this making commissioning requirement more stringent makes people think ahead of time, not until last minute and then they run around. So this kind of commissioning requirement makes them think way advance that these are the requirements and that is what we have to do. Thank you.
Thanks, Shailesh. I have a motion to approve this. If anybody wants to speak for it, you can just say you're in favor of that. Does anybody want to speak against it or have any other modifications to it?
One last modification, instead of authorized agent, it should say authorized representative to match the checklist.
Thanks, Eric.
And the same thing on number 3.
Yeah, on both.
Yeah, and I was just gonna just toss in right now, because I think it's relevant, that for the smaller projects that you were talking about, Eric, my proposal does kind of highlight that there are thresholds. And so this particular, especially this post-occupancy requirement, of course, would not, the commissioning would not be required for buildings that have these small systems. And so that does take care of some of the project types that you were talking about.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, because that is a big deal, right? I mean, generally I work on big projects and it all has commissioning agents and we go through the whole process, but I'm just trying to think of the smaller projects that are around the state. That's it.
Yeah, and I completely agree. So that's what the thresholds are for. And then, sorry, Krista, one more tiny edit. In that first sentence, the mechanical, you can take out the first and just put a comma. It's not needed.
Thank you.
Does that mean, do you know which sentence is being talked about? Okay. Go ahead, Larry.
Dwayne talked about how they want to approve it, but Dwayne, are you talking about the city making sure that what they got commissioned, that you're putting your signature, the jurisdiction signature on there too? Is that what? Because I don't see it in writing here, but
no,
wouldn't you want to have the jurisdiction's approval on this commission report?
Good question, Larry. And the way it works is that the inspector, when they're getting ready to sign off on things, says, okay, show me your completed commissioning report. And that's when you get your final sign off, is when the inspector gets that commissioning report and puts it in the file.
Okay. But you guys don't want to have to sign off on it too then, huh?
We sign off on the overall
thing.
Yeah, they sign off on the overall building permit. The checklist is just signed by the owner and the commissioning agent and given to the building official.
Representative.
Thank you.
A representative, sorry.
Okay. All right, we have a motion to approve as modified. We got a second. All in favor of approval as modified, say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. All right, motion passes. We are on to 149, Lisa, where we do get into, no, this one is also about commissioning. When we mentioned, I think, earlier.
Yep.
So go ahead, Lisa.
Let's see. I don't.
That looks like 148, not 149.
148.
Really?
Sorry, this is the wrong one.
149 is, oh, I see.
That's the one we just approved.
Wait,
It'll
no,
take me a second to pull it up.
148 is what we already added the word the following to the beginning and that stuff, right?
Yeah. So that one was 148. That's already been approved. So we're on to 149.
Right.
Just have to find the right version of it here.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this proposal is a little different. This one does address thresholds, sort of. So for exception number 2, this one actually doesn't change the thresholds at all. But what I've done here, and I'm kind of repeating myself now, I just flipped the language around because the current exception, it talks about where the largest surface water heating capacity is 200,000 BTUs. That's actually kind of a secondary element of the threshold. Most commonly, it is whether the system has a circulation system or not. If it doesn't have a circulating system, then that surface water heating piece of equipment is exempt. And so all I did was flip it around, so it's really clear when anybody's reading the language that that really is the main trigger. And then there are also these other scenarios where it could be exempted. So there's no change to the scope or anything like that. I just flipped the language around so it's a little bit more clear. The one change that I did include is for lighting. And what this does is it lowers the threshold for installed lighting load and for a lighting load controlled by occupancy sensors or automatic daylight controls. We're dropping it from 10 kW to 7,000 watts or 5 kW down to 3,500 watts. The reason for this is that with all the reduction in lighting loads that we're seeing in buildings now, particularly with so many buildings going primarily LED, that lots and lots of projects out there, they have to have their mechanical system commissioned, they have to have their surface water heating system commissioned, but they don't have to commission lighting because the thresholds are so high. And so all this is doing is it's trying to lower those thresholds to be more in line with a building that would already have to be commissioned. And these thresholds were determined, again, based on conversations with commissioning professionals who have expressed that this is appropriate for that intent. So that's my proposal.
Thank you, Lisa. Go ahead, Greg.
So I emailed Krista a proposed amendment. I don't know if she has a chance to pull that up. As she's pulling that up, I'll just note that this is related to the houses of worship, and I kind of drafted what I thought might be a a good way to address that. If we basically say that the houses of worship can exclude the assembly area and the gymnasium area from that capacity thresholds for the heating and cooling when and I referenced the one on 148, how it was written 148. So when you're applying the capacity thresholds, you don't have to include the those spaces when you have a program temperature setback days throughout the week. Basically under the thinking that they're probably not going to be using the assembly space in the gymnasium very much throughout the week. It's very low, and if they just set the temperature setback, then they don't really have to spend the time doing the commissioning on because really it's the office buildings and those spaces that get kind of more used throughout the week.
I'm on the board of our church, and we rent out our church like 6 days a week. So it's occupied quite a bit of time. Also, we have applying exception 1.1 and 1.2.
That's referencing that was the 148. So you look at the same section that we just approved, and I did put in the setback days. So I mean, if you have your church does rent it out and they don't have setback days, then that wouldn't apply. But if they end up being something where they don't rent it out all the time.
Okay, and the 1.1 and 1.2 refer to exception
capacity.
1, because we now have a 1.1 and 1.2 under there that talks about the capacity. I get that. And then so 5 is an exception to, you have an exception under an exception referencing
References another exception. So it really, this would be under one, it would be, you'd call it 1.5 is where it would really reside, because it'd be underneath the mechanical system one. The 1.5 is where it should be.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Dwayne.
Well, first let me address Greg's proposal. I'm very much opposed to this. I don't think we should be giving our churches worse performing mechanical systems than everybody else gets. There are a number of other building types, many of them assembly types, that are used only irregularly and are often empty and dark, and we still require commissioning from all of them, and they still all benefit from them. So I think that's a bad precedent to set, that they would soften rules and make efficiency worse for this one class of buildings, especially this one class of buildings that's always like
coming up short of
Don't
funds.
we already do that for affordable housing though, Dwayne?
We have very little that's excused for affordable housing. We're very demanding. That's why people don't like me. Well, one of the reasons.
Okay.
People like you, Dwayne.
Yeah. But I had a couple little quibbles since now I get back at Lisa. Under item 2 in the first underlined sentence, instead of heated water circulating, that should be service water heating circulating systems, because heated water would be ambiguous.
Which one?
In exception 2, the first underlined line there where it says heated water.
Good catch. Thanks, Dwayne.
Service water heating. And I really don't like this 2.5 down at the bottom there. This says that you don't have to have you get out of this if the largest water heating system is less than 200,000 BTUH. But what it is now is that it's the sum total of them is 200,000 BTUH, and it would be very easy to say, well, we got this one for the West Wing and this one for the East Wing, and therefore we're below 200,000. So it should say the capacity of the combined service water heating systems is less than 200,000.
So Dwayne, that would be an increase in stringency. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I think that would be an increase in stringency, wouldn't it?
That would, because right now it says where the largest, what's stricken is the same thing as
Okay.
the exception.
I'll withdraw that one then and just leave it with my one quibble at the top.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
fine, Nathan.
disagree with you. We run into it all the time, but I was, well, frankly, I didn't want to have to do the life cycle cost analysis on this. So I only took on lighting. And so this was not intended to change the stringency. And I will, since I have an opportunity now to speak about this, I agree. I don't, even though I know it doesn't matter, I don't find the change about houses of worship friendly. I think it's a slippery slope, picking like one building type that doesn't have to meet commissioning when all others do. And I think as Shailesh noted, that making sure that the systems in a building like House of Worship, I think is beneficial for the owner with regards to long-term energy savings. So I wouldn't accept that as friendly.
Thanks, Lisa. We don't have to be friendly around here, although we like it. So when somebody makes a motion to approve this, they could include or not include that language, and then we could have a discussion at that point on it.
There's been no motion yet, so I guess we'll go ahead and make a motion to approve with Dwayne's edit, but without the House of Worship edit.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, I also was going to speak out against the House of Worship edit. I mean, we do have carve-outs for affordable housing, but we have a documented housing crisis, whereas I don't think we have a documented shortage of houses of worship crisis in our state. Maybe we do. I haven't heard of it. And also, I mean, I think the logic's flipped. Like, you need the commissioning to ensure that the setbacks work, that you're using as the way to get out of needing commissioning. Those are honestly the basic thermostat settings are one of the classic things that commissioning agents can make sure are put in place before the job's turned over. So speaking against that portion.
Thanks, Nathan. Go ahead, Larry.
I got two things. Service water heating systems. Isn't that potable water heating systems serving pools and permanent? I don't know any potable water servicing pools or permanent spas. So I think we need to change that wording. And then just because it's not commissioned, Dwayne, doesn't mean it's a crummy system. And that's what you inferred there. And I don't agree with that. So it's an added cost that a lot of a high percentage of the time that's probably not needed. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. You said something about the phrase service water heating, and does
So
anybody have any thoughts on
2.1, we need to change that because that's basically your service water heating. Now you guys have dictated that that's potable water, drinkable water. You don't have drinkable water heating pools or permanent spas. You don't have that. So
Is there a correct term for that?
So we need
No,
a different
water
term.
heating, service water heating is not only potable water.
You
It's
said
water.
You
it's
said
water.
that, Dwayne. You said that service water heating is potable water from way back.
It includes potable water, but if you look at the definition of service water heating, it includes domestic and commercial uses, and we've included pools and spas in there for as long as there's been a code, as far as I know.
So what you need really there is hydronic water heating, okay, for pools and spas. That's what you really need.
Okay, the definition, just to be clear for everybody, service water heating, according to the integrated draft, means heating water for domestic or commercial purposes other than space heating and process requirements.
Right. So service water heating is potable water, and
it doesn't say potable in the definition, Larry.
But what it says is for other purposes. So you're using that for sinks or filling a container out there on a truck or something, but you're not using pool water. Service water heating is not pool water or spa water. It's not. Those are hydronic. Those are hydronic purposes. Those are heating waters. And that's what I don't agree with your definition of service water, because if there's not a clear
definition in the code, there's a definition in the code and it says everything other than space heating or service, or, or process.
You're heating pools and you're heating spas. That's
No,
space
it's
heating.
everything other than space heating. Space heating would be hydronic for a fan coil unit or something else like that.
That wouldn't be service water heating.
No, that would be for space heating.
Right. So you're
this is
heating a
everything
pool.
other than space heating. And
You're
heating a pool is not space heating.
I disagree. Totally disagree.
I mean, the water will heat a space perhaps, but it's not space heating. It's serving a pool or a spa.
I think we need a clarification from the ICC on that. Okay. I really do, because I don't believe your interpretation is right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks. I think it'd be simple enough just to strike the word service, and then there's no confusion. We're talking about
that creates more confusion, because then it could either be space heating or service water heating.
no, it's for pools or spas. It's the system serving the pool or spas that you care about. And if you take out water heating, then it's like, well, is it the lighting system? It's about the water heating system. Anyway, bigger question. How does this jive with 148? Are there changes exclusive to this proposal that are not made in 148 and vice versa? Because it looks like there's crossover. Or maybe
Lisa,
I'm
go
confused.
ahead.
Yeah, they're intended to complement each other. I would say that 148, you start with 148 and then you layer these changes on top of it. I just tried to separate the scope, where one proposal is purely cleanup, and then this one actually takes, and it's exception 2, it does reconfigure exception 2, and then it reduces, lowers the threshold on exception 3. So
Okay.
yeah, so they were intended to be, part A, and then once you complete part A, then you layer part B on top of it.
Okay, I appreciate that. I couldn't tease out that nuance. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Go ahead, Greg.
I'm going to make an amendatory motion that we bring back House of Worship, but it should actually be under 1.5, not 2.6 where it was at.
Okay, we have an amendatory motion. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, there is no 1.5 on this one, so I
That's what that ends up
Yeah.
being 148. So that's what we just talked about. If you saw
So,
1.8.
yeah, so on this one, 1.5 is 2.6.
Well, no. So
I'm not
Lisa's.
gonna put it under
Oh,
number one.
okay.
I'm not gonna try to merge both proposals together into this one. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, that's not gonna happen.
I think it's understood what the intent of this is. So we have an mandatory motion to include 2.6 here, unstrike it and put that in the original motion.
I have a question for the folks making the motion. So your intent here is that regardless of the size of the house of worship, so it could be a small church or it could be a mega church. In both scenarios, regardless of the size of the systems, the type of the systems and everything, houses of worship get a break. Is that what I'm reading?
No, not entirely. So what it is that you're excluding the heating and cooling capacity specifically to assembly and gymnasium spaces. So under the, if you had to have a small house of worship, which had, like Larry gave his example, let's say they had 40 tons, but the overwhelming majority of that 40 tons, like 75% of it was just for the assembly space, then I mean, you would exclude that out and then you'd be under your 20-ton threshold because you're excluding out that portion that's doing. If you talk a really big house of worship that had a ton of classrooms, or even if it, let's say a house of worship that had a joint school, you know, a school in there, well, you're going to be over your threshold just doing cooling and heating the classrooms and the office space. So the presupposition is that your classrooms and your office space will likely get used quite a bit throughout the week. But it's just the assembly and the gymnasium areas where if that's what's putting you over the threshold, well, why penalize them just for that putting you over a threshold when it only gets used a couple times a week?
All right, we need to move on.
Yeah, I'll say that that's not what the language says. And so, so I just, Shell, quick question. So is the motion then, will it, there'll be a vote for the change and then a vote for the core proposal? Is that how this works?
Yes, that's how it would work.
Who was the second on the modifying?
I second it, Larry.
Larry
But
did.
I want to say one thing, Lisa. I mean, I can understand if you've got a place of worship where you've got 1,000 people, because I have seen these, Lisa, and we have a few in Spokane, where they have immense systems and they have DDC and all of that. And I would agree in that type of system that we should probably have someone there commissioned. But when we've got just package equipment, 2 pieces of package equipment dropping down, and we got gas and we got 2 runs going down each side of the church. I mean, and that to me, that's why I tried to bring it to 2 20-ton cooling units and maybe 360 on each side of the heat. That's why I tried to limit that. And because we do have some immense places of worship here where they have more than 1,000 people there. And I think we need to kind of separate that, you know, that's my thought. And you got the church that might only have 200 people in it, and it has 1 residential furnace in it and 1 5-ton air conditioner down below. Okay. So.
All right, we're not going to workshop this anymore. We have an amendatory motion. So you can vote yes, and that would be to add houses of worship to the main motion, or you can vote no, and it would not add houses of worship to the main motion. This is not a vote on the main motion. This is only a vote on the amendatory motion. All in favor of the amendatory motion to add a house of worship, say yes.
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 No.
Any opposed, say no.
No.
You give up.
Okay. All right. We're gonna do a roll call on this. I think the noes have it, but I heard 2 noes or 2 yeses rather. So we're going to do a roll call vote on this mandatory motion.
Marty Brennan,
Abstain.
Kim Barker,
Kim, are you there?
I don't see her on the list any longer. Todd Blevins,
Yes.
Dwayne Johnlin,
No. Oh, wait, we're the
So,
amendment part. Still on the
sorry, I'm
administrative motion?
going to restate that. This is the same vote we just took where it
Right.
seemed to be
So-
clear that the noes had it, but when I hear two different votes, I'm going to, at least two people in dissension with the rest of everybody, I'm going to call for a roll call vote. So a yes vote includes houses of worship in the main motion. A no vote does not include it in the main motion.
No.
Eric Bedell,
Abstain.
that was an abstention.
Yes, it was abstention.
Greg Johnson,
Yes.
Nathan Miller,
No.
Kevin Duell,
No.
Poppy Storm, I don't see her on the list any longer. Shailesh Desai,
No.
Larry Andrews,
Yes.
Lisa Rosenau,
No.
Irina Sesarova,
Abstain.
Sloan Ritchie,
No.
Nick Manning,
No.
Kevin Sharp,
No.
Alessandra De La Torre, are you back?
Alessandra came back and then had to drop off again. This is Deepa. No.
Okay. Motion fails 3-9 with 3 abstentions.
Okay, motion fails 3-9. We are back to the main motion. The motion is to approve this as modified, slightly modified on the screen, except without the houses of worship thing. All in favor of approving this proposal, say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no.
No.
Okay, motion passes. We are on to the next one. That is 284 Andrews. Larry, you have the floor. This is to remove all of C409. All right, Larry, you have the floor.
Sorry, I had the thing checked off. I just think in smaller buildings, 20,000 feet or less, I don't think we need this. I think energy meeting and energy compensation management, I think that's so much over the top for buildings that are 20,000 feet and less. I think it's just ridiculous myself. And that's why I think we need to put better limits than what we've got. And I felt that we need to have a discussion about it. But to have energy metering and energy consumption management in a building that 20,000 square feet or so or less is just utterly ridiculous, because the guy's got a meter there. He's got a gas meter. He's got electric meter. He's going to know what energy he's going to have. And to me, that just seemed ridiculous. Thanks.
So right now, my understanding is C409 says new buildings and additions with a gross conditioned floor area over 25,000 square feet shall comply with section C409.
Okay.
That's my understanding. So under 25,000.
I didn't see that. I missed that then.
Okay.
Didn't it
Okay.
get modified to 10,000 though, Shell? Or is that not?
No, I
We
don't.
may have. I'm looking at the integrated draft. So I didn't. We may have modified it to 10,000.
I think that's way too small. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, we've got buildings. If you had a small hospital or something and you had an MRI there and everything else, but in 10,000 square feet, that's little or nothing commercially. And 25,000, that makes sense. It just doesn't make sense under that level, because you might have a warehouse. You got, like we have, warehouse, office, and I've got over 10,000 square feet, and you're going to make me put a system like that in? I think you're out of your gourd. Okay. I mean, it's just a waste of money. It's a total waste of money. Thanks.
Thanks, Larry. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, just quick question. I'm looking at the original integrated draft, and it does lower the threshold to 10,000 in general, and then it lowers the tenant space threshold to 5,000, and then buildings where there's no gross conditioned floor area over 10,000, including the common area, that's been lowered to 10,000. And
I misspoke. Krista has it up on the screen right now.
Yeah, there we go.
I was looking at the wrong integrated draft. You're right, Lisa.
Yeah, so that's the new language, as I understand it.
Go ahead, Nathan.
I do have some sympathy for what Larry's saying. I don't remember where we came up with the 10,000 number, but maybe it's logical to put it in alignment with our clean building performance standard tiers, because those are the buildings that are going to most benefit from having the ability to use this sub-meter data, and that's the tier 2 buildings are 20,000 square foot is the cutoff. That's where a lot of this is going to be really useful in the future.
Thanks, Nathan. Go ahead, Charles.
So these are conditioned floor area, 10,000 square feet, not like warehouse, which is not unconditioned, or semi-seated space, something like that. Thank you.
Thanks, Charles. Go ahead, Darren.
I'm just wondering, with the C40901, when it was submitted, was there an amount of energy savings that was proposed by doing this statewide?
By removing all of section 409?
No, I mean 409 in general for the sizes energy metering. I know the state has a target that the legislature wants to hit. So what energy savings does this section create?
This was out of the 2024 IECC. So there wasn't, you'd have to go back to their proposal and look at their.
But also we've had metering in the code for a while now, right?
Right, but that was at 20,000 square feet. The 10,000 came from the 2024 IECC.
So I guess my question is, what's the difference between the exceptions and the 20,000 in energy savings statewide? What is the amount that would create?
Even if someone has a.
So that would go back to the IECC 2024 creation and documents submitted for that process.
Okay. Where would a person find that?
You'd have to go to the IECC process for the 2024 and search through there to find the appropriate code change proposal.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Go ahead, Todd.
I guess I just have a question on the whole metering thing anyway. What's the purpose? Because if all we're doing is metering it, what are we accomplishing other than seeing how much energy we're using? My warehouses in Eastern Washington, they're all conditioned. We're 106 today. We're air conditioning those now. We're minus 12 last winter. We're heating those spaces. They know how much money they're spending on energy because they have to do it. So I guess I'm having a hard time understanding the purpose of this whole code. I like I said, I'm just a simple building official who has to enforce wattage, and I have a hard time with that.
Thanks, Todd. Yeah, I mean, we've had a section C409 for a while, and we require it. And I guess if we set aside a couple hours to discuss this,
I understand that. Like I said, it's just a little frustrating to have this come up, and we're making it smaller and smaller buildings, and I'm just not seeing the purpose. So that's my only thing. I vented a little bit there, but it doesn't make any sense. We're not saving anybody any energy. We're not helping the state out. If people are going to use the energy, they have to use the energy.
What gets measured gets managed, and to the extent that people have better data, often they will use that better data to improve performance of buildings. But there's pros and cons. Okay. Right now, the proposal on the table, Krista, could you switch back? We don't have a motion on it, but the proposal is delete the entire C409 section. It's not to do anything else. So it seems.
Motion to disapprove.
Second.
Thanks. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it seems drastic, a drastic response to the stated questions and problems. Okay. We have a motion to disapprove and a second for that. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed today is we define tier 1 and I think it was Nathan that you said tier 2 buildings. That was a pretty big definition related to the Clean Building Performance Act, or standard, sorry. That tier 2 buildings were defined as greater than 20,000 square feet. Just overall, I know that's not the motion on the table, but there's something a little bit wonky on that, on the square footages. So again, that was it was to defend smaller projects related to that, where I would think that it would be applicable to this conversation too, where we did lower it. I think it was from 20,000 to 10,000 based on the IECC language. Just an FYI.
Okay. I mean, the tag did that last October.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Just
go ahead, Lisa. We need to wrap this up pretty soon.
Make it quick. Well, so this proposal is, it recommends striking an entire section from the IECC. So our code would be less stringent than the IECC. I don't know if that's the direction we want to go. With regards to the thresholds, yes, those changes did come from the IECC and we adopted them unamended. If there's concerns about the thresholds and how they don't align with tier 1 or tier 2 or something like that, this proposal doesn't do that. And so, that could be something that would be brought up as a public comment to the MVP committee, if there's concerns about that particular detail.
Lisa, Kevin. Larry.
Lisa got to it.
Okay.
I brought this up so we could have a talk about it. And I didn't want to put a number in there because I thought it should be something that the group should come up with. But 10,000 is ridiculously low. I mean, 20,000, if you got a machine shop out there and you got all kinds of machines and you got guys that working out on the floor, you're not going to want an energy management system for them. Okay. It's just, they don't care. They just want to get the product out the door. And to put those kind of costs, we have to compete with people in China that have no rules. Okay. And we've got to keep us somewhat competitive here. I mean, this is ridiculous. The guy's going to look at the The data he gets, he's going to throw it in the can because he can't change nothing. Thanks.
Thanks, Larry. If you want to make a proposal at the MVE committee on the size threshold, you are more than welcome and convene a work group or convene whoever you want to come up with a size threshold for that. That is perfectly acceptable. There's also public comment, many other opportunities for that. We have a motion on the floor to disapprove this. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no.
No.
All right. I heard a lot more yeses than nos. I'm going to say the yeses have it. So this is disapproved. We are on to the next one.
A point
168.
of order,
Dwayne?
Chell, there was more than
Sure.
one no. We do have to do a,
Do we? By whose rule?
well, by your stated rules, that if you heard more than one no, we would have a,
I suggested that earlier, but every time we do it, it takes 2 or 3 minutes, and we have some people that want to, I don't know, take 2 or 3 minutes over and over again. Sure, we'll do that. Let's do a roll call vote on this one.
okay. Marty Brennan,
Yes.
Todd Blevins,
No.
Dwayne Johnlin,
Yes.
Eric Bedell,
Yes.
Greg Johnson,
Abstain.
Nathan Miller,
Yes.
Kevin Duell,
Yes.
Shailesh Desai,
Yes.
Larry Andrews,
No.
Lisa Rosenau,
Yes.
Irina Sesarova,
Yes.
Sloan Ritchie,
Yes.
Nick Manning, Nick, are you there? Kevin Sharp,
Yes.
Deepa Savarjan.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried 11-2 with one abstention.
Okay, motion carries. We're on to the next one. Dwayne, you have the floor for 168.
Yeah, this should be a simple one. Since commercial buildings have a 10,000 square foot threshold for metering, and all the dwelling units in an apartment building have their own meters, this proposal limits the 10,000 square foot threshold for multifamily to just the common areas. It allows multifamily to substitute additional solar or efficiency credits instead of metering if they choose. This was came from a request from our affordable housing people. So that's an additional 0.12 watts per square foot of solar or 15 additional energy credits, whichever you like. Then finally, it adds an exception for corridors and stairs from the plug load submetering.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, thanks, Dwayne and Lisa. We have a motion to approve. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say yes.
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 Abstain.
Yes.
Any opposed say no. Okay, motion passes. We are on to the next proposal, which is, I believe,
It's not duplicative. Withdraw 219. I'm the proponent.
okay, withdrawing 219. Okay, thank you, Nathan. We are to 186, John.
Okay. This one allows site lighting to be on a separate meter from the building lighting. It clarifies that sewer waste heat can be treated like other site-generated energy, and it makes a couple of other clarifications and corrections. It cleans up a few metering issues, which came from answering our applicant questions about how we apply the code. So it allows site lighting to go either to a building meter or to a separate meter, because sometimes parks or playfields or industrial sites have separate utility service for the site lighting. It includes waste heat from sewers and other offsite sources in the site-generated renewable energy submeter. Clarifies which kind of healthcare facilities qualify for that end-use metering exemption, and corrects a typo in the hotel room exception. So a lot of cleanup and a few additional exceptions.
Thanks, Dwayne. Greg.
So I agree with you, Dwayne, that you can serve lighting and all that stuff from a separate service and separate meter, but I'm wondering, what is the purpose of that exception? Because I mean, when I read, unless I'm reading it wrong, when I read that charging language, it doesn't say anything about not including it. It just says you have to include it. It doesn't tell you how to include it, or how do you actually wire it. So I guess I'm wondering, is it necessary?
It says that you can either put it into the building's load data, or you can take it to a separate collection system.
Let's talk about
allowing a choice.
Well, that's talking about the systems on how to do it, but that doesn't change the core requirement. The core requirement is it's got to include it into the calculations, regardless if you have 1 meter or 2 meters. You still got to include it, right?
I think it's an exterior lighting allowance versus building lighting allowance, separating out.
But isn't that weakening the code? Because normally you're supposed to include all the site energy on the whole site.
Oh yeah, you do, but you can either do it on the building system or on some other system entirely. Like I said, if it's the park department here has its own thing going for site lighting that's separate from the buildings that are on the site, and that's fine, because they're going to separately record those.
But the first sentence, the charging sentence, doesn't stop you from doing that to begin with. I guess that's what I'm saying. Is like it says electrical. This category should include all electrical energy supplied to the building and associated site. It doesn't tell you that you have to do it by a single service or a single meter. It just says you have to include it. So I guess I'm noting is that
it's just not being included. It's just making it possible for it not to be included in the system that you have in the building if you want to have it somewhere else.
I guess I don't know. I mean, if you're talking about, if you're wanting the ability to install 2 services, 2 meters, and 2 monitoring acquisition systems to do it, I don't see that the original language prevents that. If the intent is, I want to monitor it separately so that way I don't include it in my site energy consumption, so then I can look like I'm doing better than I really am, well, then that would mean you're weakening the code.
I disagree, but probably not worth the argument.
Kevin.
Yeah, this isn't an exception. I think it's a clarification. I think it's actually an additional sentence to the first sentence. That's my note. Thanks.
Thanks.
What Kevin just said is interesting. It's how I put it in the Seattle code, but you could delete the word exception and put it into the main paragraph, and I'd be fine with that.
Yep, that sounds really
reasonable. Amendment, perhaps.
That would alleviate the confusion I had. I mean, I don't know if it's necessary. I look at that as an informational note, but it doesn't harm it having it in there.
Okay, go ahead, Larry.
So the idea here is so that you're not shortening the load, right? I mean, aren't we talking about the site, the city lot, or wherever we're at, what the total load is for that city lot? And we're not trying to cheat it, are we? That's what I'm wondering. I don't mind that you meter it each way. I don't care.
No, not cheating anything or making anything less stringent, just saying you don't have to put the site lighting on your building metering loads if you put it somewhere else instead.
So you're going to meter it separately. Is that what you're saying? And then you'd add it up at the end of the day to see what your total load is, right?
Well, I don't think you even need to add it up personally, but
well, why wouldn't you? Because that's energy use.
Anyway, not important.
Go ahead, Darren.
I just can't believe it.
I think this is an excellent addition or to this code section, because if you look at the code section, it says supplied to the building and serve the building. So as a code official, I would say this is directly linked to the building, not and site or building. It says supply to the building or serve the building. So site lighting in other countries and probably the United States, there's solar and battery systems that are not linked to the building whatsoever and are completely separate. So site lighting could be solar with battery that's out in a little building way away from the main building. And that's what this provides for. There's no need to link the two together. So this is great.
Thanks, Darren. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion, if there isn't one already, make a motion to approve this proposal as amended. The only tiny edit, since that's what I do, is that I don't think we're talking about building as an entity. So I could just say that last sentence combined with the building electrical service load, just take out the apostrophe S out of there, if you don't mind, Dwayne.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second for the motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Kevin.
Yeah, perhaps a nitpicky note on where it says sewers or other offsite sources. I'm wondering, the original language doesn't open the door to any offsite source. Is the intent sewers or similar offsite sources?
Well, the intent is waste heat reclaimed, and so waste heat.
Oh, I see.
Have to be from very close by. Yeah, but since the sewers were located in the street next to the properties, people weren't previously able to take that exception.
I just wasn't reading it correctly. Thank you, Dwayne.
Thanks, Kevin. Greg.
So one other thing there is no Washington State electrical code. It's you should refer to as NFPA 70 as adopted by the state of Washington.
Oh, very good catch. Do we get to vote now?
Yep.
Got a caps lock issue there.
I know, it keeps going on and off randomly on me.
Oh no. All right.
I want to put with amendments, with Washington State amendments.
As adopted, probably, you know what I mean?
Yep, as adopted by Washington includes any amendments made by Washington State. All right, all in favor of this as modified, say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. Okay, motion passes. We are on to the last two of the day. And my understanding is one of them will be withdrawn if the other one passes. So 146, Lisa.
Do we need a motion to extend the meeting since we have 5 minutes?
We probably do.
Maybe. Let Lisa have a try here.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, quickly I can do this. Oh, and thanks, Krista. This is the version I'd like to share with everybody. So I took the liberty of just taking all the proposals that impact the C410 and folded them all together so we could see how it all goes together. So that's what this proposal does. And so if you first scroll down into the C406.1 section, show the whole thing.
Hang on just a sec.
Okay, so the language in orange is already approved. And so we already added an exception under added refrigerated warehouse coolers and freezer spaces as under exception 1. And so that edit that I show there in green, Krista, that is, it's no longer needed, and which is why I noted there. So since we already took care of it and added it to exception number 1, so that's just a pickup. And then if you scroll up.
And where is this posted right at the moment?
This was posted on the website, State Building Code Council website. I can also show the core, but this shows everything.
Go ahead.
Shows everything together. And then for section C410, what I've got here is both the C140 or the proposal 144 plus John Lynn's 166. And so this is an attempt to fold both our proposals together. From John Lynn 166, it includes under C410.1 where the envelope assemblies of these spaces comprise any portion of the building thermal envelope. The assembly shall also comply with section C402. This is with regards to envelope assemblies for refrigerated spaces. This was in the code, I think, back in 2018, and it was removed. And so this is putting what we had in the code back in again, but making it clear that in this case, you would substitute the R values at U factors defined in C410 if they're in C410, otherwise C402 would take care of everything else. And if you scroll up. Okay, so under 146, so item number 4, what this adds is that the floor of walk-in coolers and refrigerator warehouse coolers have to meet the U factor requirements or the R value requirements. Before it just said walk-in coolers. And then there is still an exception for a walk-in cooler or a refrigerated warehouse cooler that's mounted directly on a slab on grade floor. So that's just clarifying that exception. Item number 7, scroll up to that because there's more below it. Right there. This complements Dwayne John Lynn's language where it says that envelope assembly elements not governed by this section, including glazed windows, glazed doors separating walk-in and warehouse cooler spaces, and slab edge insulation, it shall all comply with section C402. So those are things that there's no requirement for those in this section, so it points to C402. You scroll up. Under C410.4, just a minor change to make it clear that we're talking about lighting for refrigerated case and walk-in display doors, minor. And then it also adds a section C410.7 is strictly just a pointer to C409 because there are metering requirements for refrigerated refrigeration systems in C409, so it's just a pointer. And then C405.1, this is a section correction. And that's my
motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve in a second. Thank you, Lisa. Kevin.
Yeah, so as I read it, there are no changes. These are just showing a bunch of proposals merged together. Is that correct?
Yeah, because it would be hard to see how it all worked, right? Without taking the proposals that have already been approved. Everything that is in blue is 146, but 146, I pulled in the requirements in Dwayne's 166 as well. So it's all in there together. The only change in this is that both of our proposals point to C402, just in slightly different ways. And so we blended our language together so that it was clear.
Okay, but really the language is what's already been approved.
Although
Lisa,
highlighted
yeah, the
in
question
blue.
is,
Yeah.
what's not approved that's in this proposal, not already approved that's in this proposal?
Yeah.
All right.
Everything in blue.
So the green has not been approved?
Green is already approved as tag amended. Orange is already approved as tag amended.
So basically everything's been approved already. This is just showing how it all lays together.
Well, there's some blue below.
Except for the blue and the red.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
The red is Johnlin 166. The blue is my proposal 146.
Okay.
Go ahead, Larry.
Where's this at with existing systems? So if we have an existing system we're replacing and they don't have any insulation under the floor, I can't imagine a freezer like that, but I can imagine a cooler like that. So where are we at with existing systems?
If you have to work in one of these buildings and replace, condenser or something like that, it does not trigger any envelope changes.
Okay. Thanks, Dwayne.
Thanks, Larry. Go ahead, Kevin.
Now we need a motion to extend.
Well, my understanding of Robert's rules is that if there's a motion, then you don't have to extend the meeting.
Oh, good point. I thought we had one more thing.
Sure. We have a motion already, which is why I didn't ask for a motion to extend.
Is this the last proposal?
This is.
It's going to be.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks. Well done.
Thanks, Kevin. Larry.
Not dictated to this proposal, but I thought we had one from Dwayne Johnlin about gravity dampers that never did get satisfied unless he withdrew it. And
hey, Larry, he withdrew it.
Oh, you really did?
I really did. You were there.
Yep.
I knew I talked to Eric. I sent Eric information, but I never knew it was formally withdrawn. Thank you.
It was withdrawn at the last meeting on the 23rd, I believe. All right. All in favor of approving this proposal, say yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Okay, motion passes. And Dwayne, are you going to withdraw 166?
I'm going to withdraw 166.
Okay, awesome. That means we are done. We're through our agenda. We had tabled an item. We could extend the meeting and consider that proposal we tabled. My recommendation to the tag, though, is to have Larry and anybody else who likes pieces of that proposal that we tabled to bring that to the MVPE with discrete chunks of good code language. Reach out to Larry if you have those things, and then we can consider it at that point. Thank you very much for all of your work, 85 hours. You've done an awesome job. It's great to have people disagree about things and come to great technical resolutions that moves us all forward. So thank you. There's a lot more public process ahead, so I hope you're all engaged in that. Thank you so much. We are adjourned.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
job.
Great
Yeah.
job.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks.
Thanks,
Krista.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thanks,
thanks a
Joe.
lot to Krista as well.
Yep.
Thank
Great
you.
work.
Thanks,
Yep.
Krista.
Thank you, Krista.
Thanks, Krista.
Thank you, Krista.
Tip your bartender.